Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Open. Today's Tuesday, October 8th, 8:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:20 p.m. Indian time. Thank you all for being here. We are live from India, folks, for the first ever Market Open from India. I am really excited to do this. We had a long journey to get here. You guys know visa was expired the day I was supposed to get here, and then I applied for an e-visa. Somehow got it in 10 hours, then got the flight the day of the e-visa, got approved, and now we're here a day later, Tuesday, October 8th. Thank you, everybody, for being here this morning. Seems like the audio is good, and video should be okay. I don't have the special camera up right now. I'll get that set up probably in the next couple days, but so far we got the webcam up, which hopefully is not too bad. So let's get through some logistics and get through everything going on, and then we'll get started with the actual show. I know that missing yesterday was, first of all, it was tough for me because I was in the airplane and I saw the stock market open. Thankfully, I had some Wi-Fi, so I was able to see some tickers move. And I know a lot of you guys were having some withdrawals. So we're back. We're back in action. A couple things I found out. So I thought I was not going to even be able to do the market open today. I ended up calculating the time wrong. So we're back. Market open is here today. I said I was not going to be able to do the market close over the next couple days. Actually, over the next couple days, Thursday and Friday, I probably won't be able to do the market open, but I will be able to do the market close. So we're going to have the ability to at least have a show, even if we can't do the market open, just based on how some of the timing works out. And so we'll be good for the rest of the week and at least have one show every single day live. So it's going to be fun and it's going to be exciting. Second of all, I look like an Indian prince right now. Why? Because we're in India and we have to bust out the Indian outfit. But I also look like a guy who works in Indian IT tech support with the headphones because we don't have the fancy microphone. So I think there's a nice little duality here of, like, you know, Indian royalty plus like Indian tech worker. And we got, as Thomas says right here, we got the customer service rep. Exactly. We got the customer service rep, telemarketer that is also a Indian prince, which is the exciting stuff. We got a lot to talk about, folks. China's down 9% in certain equities and the index. So that China trade so far seems to be reversing. I wouldn't say it's like fully gone bearish because obviously Chinese stocks are still up almost 30% for the year. So we'll talk about what's going on with China. That is the big headline coming out today. On top of that, we've got a lot of volatility. Because it's one of the worst weeks in October due to the election cycle. Historically, stocks fall on average 5% on the second week of October for the past 5 election cycles. And this year, maybe that's going to change. We're in the week of Tuesday. We might end up having that week, you know, in the week of Tuesday, we might end up having by the end of Friday that happening or not happening, but we'll see what ends up happening by the end of Friday. You guys might have saw someone come in the background. That's my uncle. He will also be joining the show, which is going to be super fun. So the last hour of the market open, we are going to have my uncle, who is a big stock market investor, and he'll be joining the show as well. And he'll talk about everything going on in the world of the Indian economy, which I learned a lot today, given he yapped a lot about different stats we have. And then tomorrow we have CPI. So CPI is going to be really important. I think if CPI can come in at probably 2.2 to 2.3%, we're going to get a little bit more momentum. The problem is that jobs report that we got a while ago is likely not going to be beneficial for a 50 bips cut, more likely for 25. So we'll talk about the probabilities on 25 or 50. But we're going to be discussing kind of what happens with CPI. Yes, it was a landline phone. So let me say where I'm at. I'm at a hotel. So I'm not at my grandparents' house right now. The reason for that is because we have a lot of family at my grandparents' house. And so to just get like some space, we have this hotel. Also because we're going to have some people sleep in this hotel. It's like 5 minutes from my grandparents' apartment. So today I'll be doing the market open from the hotel. Most likely tomorrow I'll be doing the market open from their spot. We'll see kind of how it works out. But I am in a hotel right now, which makes it a little bit more easier to end up doing the show. We do have the cowbell as well. I got a selfie with some cows. And next time I need to do a selfie with the cowbell and some cows. But I told you guys before I came, hey, the cows will be on the street. There you go. You got some cows on the street. So we'll talk more about everything I've seen in India over the past couple of hours. Because for me, it's 6 p.m. I slept at 2 a.m. last night, woke up at 7 a.m. I was so excited. I posted this video on Twitter. I just started walking around. I really have not slept in like the past 48 hours. But we still have the energy and we still have to keep going. And I'm excited to get the show started and get into what we got to get into. CPI is next week? Oh, weird. I thought CPI was... Okay, so I was wrong about that. CPI is next week. I got an update that CPI. Yeah, you guys are right. CPI will probably be next week. All right. So expectations for CPI came out today, which is why I thought it would come out tomorrow. But you guys are right. So CPI next week, we're going to get a much better read on what it looks like and what the headline CPI forecast ultimately comes out to. Amit, did you meet your wife yet? No, not yet. But trust me, there have been conversations about weddings as soon as I came to India. So no no meeting of the wife, but the conversations are definitely happening. All right. Before we get into the actual market open, I do have one thing to say before we get started. Thank you, 959 people, for being here. Look, I found out something yesterday. And it's not something I'm happy about, but I do have to address it because the way you have open communication is you address these things publicly and then you move forward. I found out that a decent chunk of you cheated on me yesterday and you chose to watch someone else for the market open. And that's okay. That is okay. I'm here to say it's all right. I'm here to say you are forgiven. I'm also here to say that I understand. Quite frankly, sometimes you need to experiment with the side chick before you come back to the main, just to like remember what the main offers you. You need to go experience some fun on the side. And so I'm not upset about it. I'm not mad about it. I get it. A lot of you guys messaged me saying, I'm sorry, I had to go watch this guy who's, arguing for this coupon code every 5 minutes. I get it. But maybe now that you got, incentivized with the coupon code, you come back to the person that actually loves you. And it is what it is. That's how it goes. One thing I will say is that for those that chose not to engage in cheating yesterday and have actually lived up to maintaining the sanctity of monogamy, which is crippling in the West. For some reason, we don't think monogamy is special anymore. I applaud you. And I really, really think that you guys are doing a justice to society. And I hope the rest of you can follow in those footsteps. So thank you, everybody, for being here. It's time to get started. Let's get on with the market open. All right, China. So I was up while you guys were probably sleeping because the time zones are switched, and I saw what was going on in China, and it's not pretty. And the reason it's not pretty, quite frankly, this is actually hilarious what's happening in China right now. What's happening in China, and let's pull up some charts to take a look at it. FXI, by the way, Robinhood, we got some updates to talk about Robinhood, and we'll go deeper into that because they made some announcements yesterday. What's happening in China right now is the Chinese government, or I think the Central Bank of China, they had a meeting yesterday. This meeting was at 10:30 a.m. their time, so it was like 7 or 8 a.m. India time. So I was like wide awake seeing what was happening. As you can see, the FXI Chinese large cap ETF down 10% on the day. The Hang Seng Index also ended its worst performance in 16 years, down 9.4%. So it hasn't been pretty for Chinese equities. Even though the CSI index is up a little bit, Chinese equities are still getting hit by the general market taking a little bit of a hit based on that meeting. Now, what happened at that meeting? Well, the market didn't get stimulus. It's kind of that simple. They didn't announce anything that was bad. They didn't announce anything that was like predatory. They didn't announce anything that was going to be kind of different from what the market expected. The problem was they didn't announce anything. Alibaba right here down about 7%. And the fact that they didn't announce anything is what got the market really upset, saying, wait a second, if the rally in Chinese equities has primarily been based on liquidity, what does that mean? That means that the money printer was turned on. Reserve ratio requirements for banks went down. Mortgage requirements went down. Liquidity literally was pumped in from the Chinese central bank into different companies, forcing different companies to buy back their shares. I mean, that is obviously a reason why someone like David Tepper, who is one of the largest hedge fund managers in America, a very successful hedge fund manager, when he comes up and he says, hey, you should think of buying this, a lot of people start following that lead, and we had a decent rally. But if the money printer turns off, which is what seems like it's happening right now to an extent, not that stimulus is over, but that the bazooka of stimulus I was talking about last week on Friday when I was reading a couple articles saying, hey, China has not really unleashed the bazooka. If that bazooka is not going to be unleashed, then that's an issue. I wouldn't say it's a rug pull, as some people are saying right here. I would say, because I don't think the Chinese government wants their economy to not succeed. I think it's more so a question of, hey, maybe we need to be a little bit more cautious around how much stimulus we do. And if they're going to be cautious around how much stimulus they do, then that just means it's going to take time for stimulus, which means if it's going to take time for stimulus, we're going to get a little bit of downside pressure. CPI is October 10th. Okay, I thought I was right about that. So CPI is October 10th. So in 2 days, we will discuss CPI. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat, The Experimented. Yeah, that's what I thought. CPI is going to be this week. Okay, so we'll talk about CPI expectations. Yeah, it doesn't make sense for it to be next week. It's going to be this week because we have non-farm payrolls last week. And that jobs report obviously is going to affect CPI as well. So overall, what are your guys' thoughts on this? Because I'm seeing a lot of retail start saying, hey, they want to start selling their Chinese equities. And to me, this is actually hilarious because I think if you want to start selling your Chinese equities, you really didn't have a thesis in the first place, which is okay, but you have to admit that, right? If today's the day where you're getting rid of your Chinese trade, then you have to admit it absolutely was a trade. It was not it was not an investment. So my question here is, do people buy the China dip? Like, put in the chat if you're actually buying the China dip, if you're DCAing on those positions, based on this massive narrative we've seen over the past few weeks, even if you don't think stimulus is going to be as strong, or if a lot of you are up 30 to 40%, by the way, Hang Seng Index, which is now down 10%, is still up 25% for the year after being down 10% in a day, which is a very irregular, volatile movement, which is probably not healthy, but the index is still up in a lot of equities. Alibaba is still up 40% for the year, even though it's down 7% right now. Do people take the money and run? And I think a lot of retail is going to take the money and run because I think a lot of retail got into China for no understanding of why they got into China, even though, let me make this very clear, China's is undervalued. Alibaba's undervalued. JD.com undervalued. Baidu under all of these equity, Pinduoduo, incredibly undervalued. The overarching risk to China has always been the CCP. Now, that risk was mitigated by the CCP unleashing stimulus, but if the stimulus is not unleashing anymore, then the risk hasn't gone away. Like, the CCP is still fucking crazy, right? People are still going to be upset about that. And the fundamentals, although they are great for these equities, that risk overdetermines the capacity for a lot of those fundamentals to shine most of the time. So I don't know. I'm torn on this, quite frankly. I've never been in the Chinese equities. I never got into the trade. I just never trusted it. I don't blame anyone that got into it. My question for everyone is, hey, if you did get into it and you're up 30, 40%, are you taking your money? And are you taking your profits here on the fact or on the ideas that stimulus might not necessarily continue? Victor says not undervalued when it's under Chinese control. Toilet D Weller says holding. I bought FXI average 23 earlier this year. No reason to sell. That's the thing. If you have a good, like if you got Alibaba at 50, I would not be selling that. Like, now maybe Alibaba retraces aggressively, but if you got the lows of the year, I personally think the margin of safety is strong and the narrative is still in check. But if you want to get in right now, the question is going to be, is that stimulus enough to still be able to move forward? Or is the lack of stimulus going to be still be able to move forward? Not Brandon says, I'm surprised the internet is this good in India. So one thing, if the stream dies out for 30 seconds, that's because the electricity went out. It'll be back really quickly. Like it goes off, here and there. So if it does get a black screen, that's not because the stream is dead. It should be back in like 30 seconds. But hopefully that doesn't happen over the next couple of hours. Imagine getting blind married by your family and you wake up to your new husband screaming into a camera 2 to 3 times a day and chuckling at X for 12 hours a day. She will be grateful for the money though. Dude, I know you guys think I'm getting married here. I'm not here to get married. There's a wedding happening. It's not my wedding. It's a family wedding. And I'm here to see my family. It's been 5 years, dude. Last night I had chai from my grandmother's hand after 5 years, dude. It was the most special cup of tea I've had in a while. It was so good, dude. Nothing beats that. And then after that, she talked about when I was getting married. But at least during that moment, I was engaging in some nice tea. So it's been fun, dude. It's been very nostalgic. Again, haven't been here for 5 years. We have so many events planned for the next week. We have that 1010 event coming up. I think I'll be able to stream 1010. I think I'll be able to stream it. 1010 starts at 10 p.m. Eastern for Tesla. That'll be like 7 a.m. my time. So I think I'll be able to stream it. I think we'll still be able to do a decent number of shows. There might be 1 or 2 days where there's nothing, but I was talking it over with my uncle last night. We were going through the schedule and it was like, hey, actually the days I can't do the open, I could do the close. And so it might not be the worst thing in the world to get those shows done. Cool. So that's what we got in the context of China. We'll move on from China because we got some breaking news going on right now. We'll talk a little bit more about them. I wouldn't buy the dip right now. I would wait to see how the dust settles out. I think things are really aggressive. FXI being down 9 and Hang Seng being down 10% in a day, that's not normal. That's just not normal, especially because there was nothing bad the Bank of China said. It was just nothing good that they said, which shouldn't cause this dramatic decline unless expectations were so high that they underdelivered by literally not doing anything, which only happens, quite frankly, if the only reason you're investing in something is because you have these expectations. And if those expectations miss, then you have to really question what is the broader investment thesis. So I think in the context of China, not buying the dip, but don't blame anyone who tries to dabble in the dip. I would just rather see how the dust ultimately settles. We got some breaking news, folks, on the market open. First market open from India. Roblox has been shorted down 10% as we speak by Hindenburg. You know what's so funny about this? My cousin that I told you guys about, he like loves video games. And literally, I downloaded Hindenburg, or not Hindenburg. That would be fine. I don't know how do you download Hindenburg. I downloaded Roblox for the first time on my Mac yesterday just so he could play some games. And I think he's going to get a kick out of this, knowing that this thing is now getting shorted. So let's read the quick short float or short thesis by Hindenburg to try to get an understanding of this. They were successful on the, oh my God, this is long. We're not going to be able to read this. I'm like scrolling through it right now. Is this like 50 different tweets altogether? Holy crap. This is like a legit thesis they put out. Oh my gosh. They were successful on the SMCI one, although SMCI yesterday, they announced they were shipping 100,000 GPUs with their new liquid cooling technology. They were up 15% yesterday. They're up another 5% right now. So SMCI has done well if you got the bottom over the past couple of days. But initially, they did fall after that Hindenburg short came out in about 2 days. Roblox might have the same fate, but right now they are down about 10%. Doug says an index was up 30% in a week. Imagine if Snap was up 30% in a week, a retrace would be inevitable. I don't disagree with the fact that Chinese equities probably needed a retracement. My question is the level of logic behind the retracement is troubling to me. If the only reason for the retracement is that the Chinese government is not doing enough. Because then the question becomes, is the Chinese government going to do it? Like, is the bazooka going to be unloaded? And if they're not going to unload it, it's a question of like, is this a legit pullback, or is this a pullback where investors are taking their money and they're leaving? By the way, Nvidia right now up a little bit in the pre-markets along with the semis. There's a couple of reasons for that in regards to Blackwell. Nvidia right here touching about 130 in the pre-markets that we'll talk about. But also, I think money is leaving China and it's going back to US tech companies. I think people are smartly taking some profits in some risky plays that worked out because the CCP printed money. They're not printing money anymore for the foreseeable future to the level that Chinese investors want to see. And maybe they're bringing that money into U.S. equities. So we'll see how that turns out. Again, not fully bearish on Chinese equities, just saying I don't know if this dip is the dip to buy versus seeing if the dust can settle out. So what do we have from Hindenburg in the context of Roblox? Let's pull this up right now. Let me know in the chat if you own Roblox at all. Maybe this is an opportunity if the short float is stupid, or maybe it's not. All right, so Roblox, the title is Inflated Key Metrics for Wall Street and a Pedophile Hellscape for Kids. Now, this pedophilia argument around Roblox is not the first time I'm hearing the argument. I've heard the argument before. It seems like Hindenburg is doubling down on that argument. And obviously, that is a horrible thing. So you would not want to see that associated with a company. That is definitely not good PR for the company. So that could be bad. And then I would imagine this inflated key metrics thing. I've heard like Roblox has 80 million daily active users. If that is inflated, or if there's something about their free cash flows inflated, etc., then maybe that's what they're going for. Again, they have a lot of tweets right here. Okay, yeah, DAUs, that's what I thought. So multiple former employees told us that Roblox does internally track single users with multiple accounts, referring to the process as de-alting. Former Roblox employee says there is some work in that to de-alt things, and then a lot of times in that internal metrics, we do run de-alted calculations. So what that means is something similar to Twitter used to do with their daily active users. If you had 2 accounts on Twitter and you logged in on one and then logged in on the other, Twitter would count that as like multiples of users at once, even though the actual logic was if you had 2 accounts logged in on your iPhone and you logged into one of those accounts and never touched the other account. So for example, a lot of people have burner accounts, right? They're like real profile, then their fake profile. That burner account counted as a daily active user, even though you never logged into it on a daily basis because you logged into your real account. That inflated their metrics for 2 years, and they had to revise that in the beginning of 2022. And the stock did not do well that day. Maybe this is what they're saying. Roblox does something like that to an extent, which is why that's not a good thing. Interviews revealed Roblox effectively has 2 sets of books for counting users, one for internal business decisions in which multiple accounts are de-alted, aka fabricated, and one used by the finance team that reports higher metrics to investors. If that number of DAUs is not de-alted, I think the actual one would be like anywhere between 30 to 20% lower, a former Roblox data scientist said. That is also not a good thing, because obviously if you've got actual quotes from people that are crunching the numbers saying, hey, we don't have the types of DAUs that people think we have, investors probably would not be happy with that, because they're investing in something that doesn't really have the users that they were originally told. So they go on this DAU thing for a long time. They're basically saying that's impacting the level of minutes played a day. The data suggests that Roblox could be massively overstating the true level of user engagement across this platform. Our review of an average of 30.4 million unique daily users found that they spent just 22 minutes in games per day. I don't know what the actual minute is, but from what I heard, it's like an hour of daily usage versus 22 minutes, which is like a 40-minute delta on the actual data. So again, the market's going to have to interpret this news and see what it's correct on or what it's wrong on, but that seems to be a pretty massive concern that could affect top line revenues. And by the way, Roblox is not profitable yet, and they've not been profitable. Dilution is a concern. I've always been not bearish, but just skeptical of Roblox because like I didn't see the long-term TAM for the metaverse component of it. Also, kids don't have money. Their parents pay for the kids being able to buy things with Robux. But it's the same thing with Snapchat. If your demographic, your main daily demographic doesn't have purchasing power, I mean, how horizontally or vertically could you possibly scale that business in a meaningful way? So that seems to be the main concern. And then you have these concerns right here. In 2018, prior to Roblox going public, a 29-year-old was caught by police with 175 hours of video footage of him grooming and engaging in explicit behavior with 150 minors using online platforms, namely Roblox. Again, that idea around Roblox being a site for pedophilia has been around for a long time. So it seems like Hindenburg is doubling down on that. And Roblox is going to have to come out with some statements and some real explanations on kind of what this means from obviously a PR perspective, an internal audit perspective, and then obviously from a daily active user perspective. So that's what we got right now in the context with Roblox. Not Brandy says the issue with Roblox is monetizing their product. I 100% agree with that. And honestly, if they can't monetize the product, that's probably why they're juicing up the numbers. If they're juicing up those numbers, if they're not juicing up the numbers, then the short report is false on that perspective. But I mean, I don't really love Hindenburg. A lot of times they say some weird stuff, and the Square short report was like so stupid from them. Like they had zero logic. But sometimes they really do have a good argument. And if they have an argument that the short float or that the broader usage of of Roblox is not as strong as you think it was, that might explain why they're not profitable and why they don't have as much free cash flow as well. So that's what we got. Breaking news from Hindenburg with the Roblox short that they officially have. Kathy Wood was a Roblox bull. Don't know if she still is. You know, she's been selling Roblox. Actually, for the past 6 months, she's been selling. I think she's sold close to 400,000 shares. So maybe even she's starting to get skeptical in the context of Roblox. Davis says, "Who's this budget Amit?" This is the real Amit. Okay, this is an upgraded Amit, even though it's tech support Amit and Indian Prince Amit at the same time. Nate says, "Dude, you're looking fly." Nate, I appreciate you. Thank you for being nicer than Davis. All right, let's get our boy Tom Lee and get his perspective on what's going on in the markets. Now, Tom Lee did say, hey, things are going to be pretty volatile going into the second week of October. Historically, that is the case. They put out a note on Sunday saying, yeah, it's not looking that pretty. Let's get his updated thoughts and why he thinks the dip probably deserves to be bought, even if we have a pretty sucky October.
Why they've been so actually that's probably the one area we've seen the most weakness since the Fed hiked rates.
Yeah, small caps. I mean, they're within a few percentage points of an all-time high, and Mark Newton, our head of technical strategy, thinks we are still in an up move for small caps that just started recently. But yes, it's been disappointing. I think it's been especially disappointing because China and small caps historically are fairly highly correlated, and so we are seeing risk-on appetite increasing in some places. But I think it's just a matter of time. I think part of this is, you know, between now and the next month, which is around election day, there's a lot for investors to digest. It's including oil prices, and the VIX is elevated. I think these are things that are hard for someone to say today, between now and early November, I want to be buying risk outright. So I think small caps still have good fundamentals. Earnings growth is accelerating. The median PE is 11 times, which is almost 7 turns lower than the S&P. So I think there's still the case to be made that small caps are starting a multi-year gain. It's just been very choppy.
And again, the choppiness of that is not the concern for investors. I think the concern is, are small caps actually going to be able to deliver the momentum that Tom Lee has been talking about for a while? So far, they haven't. I mean, he did, you know, it's funny. People were saying Tom Lee should have said China's going to go up 40% instead of saying the Russell's going to go up 40%. He was calling for 300 on the Russell by the end of the summer. Obviously, that's not happening right now. But that was based on this idea that the mass rotation would happen. So that mass rotation hasn't happened yet. Maybe that's going to happen later. China, though, did go up 40%. And I don't think Tom Lee predicted that was going to happen, but that did happen based on the stimulus. FXI still down 9% right now. Alibaba in the pre-markets down 7%. JD.com, that one is down 8.9%. Again, a pretty bloody day for these equities. NEO as well, I think down 8%. Yeah, NEO down 7.6%. And the Bank of China was down 10% as well. So again, Chinese equities and small caps definitely correlated to an extent. The question is going to be which outperforms from here. And honestly, I can't answer that question. I mean, like, if I had to guess, I would say small cap simply because they're American companies and rate cuts are coming. But the better question to me is, are the rate cuts going to come at the level of the extent that the market wants the rate cuts to come at? And I don't know if that's going to be the case. And that leads us to our next topic. So there is this hurricane that has been, yesterday I think got upgraded to a category 5. Now it's a category 4, Hurricane Milton in Florida. First of all, my thoughts and prayers to everyone in Florida. I saw some videos yesterday of people rushing to get out of Florida, and highways were crowded, bumper to bumper traffic. If you are in Florida, please stay safe. And if you can get out there, I know it's going to be really hard to get out, but if you can, I would, highly recommend just getting to some level of safety, because and maybe, this is what I read. I don't know if it's exaggerated or not, but people are saying this is going to be worse than Katrina. As Nate says right here, second strongest we have ever seen. Yeah, or right below Katrina. Katrina was bad, dude. Katrina knocked out like the state for a while in Louisiana. And that was in 2005. It was a long time ago, and it took years of recovery to get through Hurricane Katrina. If this is as bad, and we just had a hurricane a couple weeks ago, then that is obviously not going to be good for a lot of people. Now, in the context of the broader economy, this gets into the rate cut question. So we had non-farm payrolls coming at 254,000. I could not believe we had 254,000 jobs added when the market expected 140,000. So that was really good. Fed futures immediately said, hey, that 50-50 split on potentially getting 50 basis points of cuts, that went to 70-30. Today I checked, it's 90-10. 90% of a chance of getting a 25% cut versus 10% on 50. I don't think we're getting 50. I think, honestly, there's no way in hell we're going to get 50. Unless the hurricane is so bad and it basically destroys the job report, which we saw happen in July. Remember, we got a really crappy job report on August 2nd, and then August 5th, the yen carry trade happened, and that led to the August 5th through August 5th through August 10th kind of meltdown that we saw in the broader markets, which created a good dip buying opportunity. But a lot of people were shocked by the jobs report, and Tom Lee came out and said, hey, maybe the hurricane had something to do with it. He was right. He was absolutely right. The next two jobs reports we got were pretty good. We got 142,000 and then 254,000, with the caveat of if you believe in those numbers, because I know a lot of people in the chat don't really believe in those numbers. But if you do believe in them, those job reports were good. This job report was really good, but if this hurricane messes up a ton of jobs, obviously, because people can't go to work if they are traveling, if they're trying to get out, obviously if there's house damage, etc., then that's not going to be a good thing for the broader economy. Now, the question is going to be, to what extent does the damage happen? And if the extent of the damage is actually enough to lead to the Fed cutting by 50 bips, I don't think that's going to be the case. Unless this hurricane, God forbid, is like as bad as Katrina, I don't know if the damage is going to be that strong for the Fed to say, hey, we need to literally adjust monetary policy to deal with a natural disaster. And so I don't think that's going to be the case. But because I don't think that's going to be the case, there will still be some turmoil from that hurricane. I just don't know if that's going to lead to 50 bips. Now, that brings us back to IWM. If we don't get 50 bips, do small caps benefit? If we don't get 50 bips, do banks benefit, right? I mean, technically, banks actually should do better when there's higher net interest income, but a lot of them have AOCI losses, which would benefit if rates come down, because then their tangible book values would go up because their loan losses go down. So there's a lot of nuance. We do have bank earnings starting this Friday, I believe, with JP Morgan, Citibank, Bank of America, et cetera. And I think the Fed's going to have to figure out kind of where they want to navigate the situation that's going on right now in regards to rate cuts, and obviously the upcoming catalyst for potentially giving us more rate cuts outside of the jobs report. Palantir. We got Palantir right here at $39.24. So not too many updates on Palantir, other than the fact that yesterday it had a 3% retracement. I thought that was a very normal retracement. Nothing too crazy about the 3% retracement we had. We did, shy away from that $40 level that we were all in love with last week. And I think we all kind of knew, hey, probably is going to come down from 40. We got to be prepared for that. In the pre-markets right now, $39.24, up 1%. One thing I will say about this is, again, Palantir continues to be one of the most resilient stocks in the stock market. You have a lot of people on Twitter getting ready or like being vocal to call the top. And again, I think they're so vocal to call the top because they unfortunately missed the bottom. And as a result, I think you got a lot of people that want to see this bad boy come down. You probably got a lot of people that want to buy the dip on this, which is understandable. But if you want to buy the dip on this, you need to get a decent dip to even get a chance to buy. And I don't know if we're necessarily going to see that. Now, again, this is the most volatile week of October historically. Palantir is down 3%. We'll see what happens today. It recovered one of the 3% that it lost yesterday right now in the pre-markets. Even if Palantir was to fall to $35, which, yeah, it would suck when we were at 40, I don't think anyone's going to be that upset. maybe some of the institutions that were buying Palantir at $37, $38 are going to be upset because from all the data I've looked at, it looks like, yeah, retail might be chasing it a little bit, but institutions are chasing it way harder than retail. They might be a little upset, but I think they're just going to buy the dip as well. So in the context of Palantir, I mean, let me know what your strategies are on Palantir. I think people are going to be more likely to sell covered calls right now if they think the strength 240 is not as strong as it was on Friday. But I don't think there's any super weakness that we're seeing in the context of Palantir, at least right now. Shout out to Davis. He texted me yesterday. He was like, Amit, why doesn't Palantir have a 3 handle next to it? What's going on? I was like, dude, shut the hell up. Like, this stock's up 140% year to date. We are not talking about it going from 40 to 38 and you getting upset about that. So, we're greedy. This year, we're greedy. We've been greedy, but that's okay because it's been a good year. I still think Q3 earnings will reaccelerate revenue growth. And if the market holds up and we can keep maintaining these premiums based on reacceleration of revenue, I think we go higher, especially given all the S&P inclusion and the momentum from that inclusion. If not, it retrace back to 35 to end the year, maybe low 33s, 32s. I don't think anyone's going to be upset about if we're still up about 80% versus being up 130%. Vince says, will you have your Indian grandma on? So not today. I will have my uncle on in about 20 minutes. We have the market open in 9 minutes, and then I'll have my uncle come on after those 10 minutes. And we're going to talk about investing in India because, so it's funny. My uncle picked me up from the airport, and literally while we're in the Uber, it was me, his wife, so my aunt and my sister, and me and him are just yapping about equities and like investing in India and all this stuff. And we can tell both of them are just like, what did we just walk into? Like, they're like, are they speaking German, right? Like they have no idea what we're talking about. But I mean, what I've learned over the past 10 hours about the Indian markets has me ready to dump a decent chunk of my portfolio, at least, hopefully 5% over the next coming years into India, because just the macro trends alone around India is just astonishing. And so he's going to come on and we're going to talk about it and go a little bit more deeper into that. But maybe we'll have some other family members join over the next couple weeks as we'll do the market open from their apartment versus in this hotel right now. Which stocks? We'll talk about it. We'll talk. It'll be fun. Amit, are you attending a wedding party? Not today. I just wore this for fun, but I will be attending a wedding a little bit later in the week. For those that are just joining, yes, I am India. For those that are asking, someone says, Amit, how are you doing this market open? Don't you have extreme jet lag? I really do have extreme jet lag. I'm not going to lie. I've slept 2 hours in the past 2 days. Literally, that flight was not a fun flight. First of all, I was supposed to get an aisle seat. I ended up getting a middle seat. Thankfully, I got to sit next to my sister, but she took the aisle. So, getting through my sister to like get to the bathroom and stuff, that was more convenient than having it be a stranger. But sitting in the middle is not fun, dude. At one point, I just got up. I tweeted this picture. At one point, I got up and I just started walking around because I was so bored. By the way, you would think on an airplane for 15 hours, that's when Amit finally watches movies. I couldn't watch movies. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I turned on a bunch of movies. I tried to get through them. I was so freaking bored of whatever movie it was. And so I just went to the back, I got some coffee, and I started chilling with the flight attendants. And I was just standing there, and I had Wi-Fi on the flight. It was barely opening tickers, but at least I was able to like watch the market open a little bit. And then I had this dream on the plane. You have weird dreams on the plane. I had a dream that I was doing the market open the day I was missing the market open, but it made no sense. I was in a big stadium, walking back and forth on stage, discussing the market open, and all of you guys were like in seats in a real physical audience. Which makes no sense because like I have no computer to reference, no data to look at. I'm just like a comedian off the dome talking about the market opening, but there's nothing to look at in regards to the market opening. So it was like the weirdest dream. And there were 50 Cybertrucks in the arena. Like it was just one of those like just let me get up out of this. What is going on? And then when I wake up, I see we have 8 hours left on the flight, and I'm like, what am I going to do for 8 hours? And so then I went and I just started walking around. You know that video I made? I said on the market open, I think 2 years ago, hey, no matter how rich I get, I will never, travel first class. Yeah, I'm taking that back. That is bullshit. If I get rich, I am never not traveling first class. I am tired of being poor and being in coach. Like I'm done with this, dude. We need to level up because this is stupid. Like it is time to enjoy the finer luxuries of life. And if I get the money, we're going first class, baby. This is what we're doing. Sitting in the middle seat for 15 hours is ridiculous, dude. But I'll enjoy the humble moments of being at the stage. Hopefully we're out of the stage and, we can upgrade to the future because it's just not worth it, dude. I need to lay down. I need to actually sleep, not have my neck basically be ready to crack. If I ever get a private jet, I'm going to name it Netflix because I'm done with commercial. That was good. That was good. That was very good. Think about that. I'm going to name it Netflix because I'm done with commercial. That was good. That wasn't my line. It was from a rapper, but still, that was really good. All right, Robinhood. We got 5 minutes until the market opens. Robinhood surprised me yesterday. Robinhood announces their first investor day on December 4th, 2024. Why is this important? First of all, I have been a champion of this company for the majority of the year. There are two names I have publicly attached my brand to, Palantir and Robinhood, and I will own that. I talk about a lot of stocks. There are two names that if they go up or they go down, I personally am ready to take all the blame, and they are Robinhood and Palantir. And what Robinhood announced yesterday made me so damn happy because most companies don't do an investor day. Why? Because they don't want to talk to investors. Because most companies are shitty. Most companies don't give a shit about their investors and their capital. They just care about themselves. The fact that they're willing to do an investor day basically tells me, hey, they don't want to just do a product announce in March. They don't want to just do another product announcement coming in 8 days on October 16th. They, on December 4th, want to have a third event in New York City to address investors, which is just like the level of transparency by this company, the level of commitment by this company, the level of, hey, we are ready to like show off what we're working on and like we're ready to engage with all types of investors on what our vision is. They are freaking going for it. Robinhood is going for it, and very few companies host an investor day, much less two product announcement events in person, flying out all these people to hype it up a year. Like most companies don't do that. Now, here's a sentence that they said from this that was just so exciting to me. Look what they said right here. They said the event will be live streamed with the option for some of our institutional and retail investors and analysts to attend in person. We'll share more about our vision for the next 10 years and how they can drive customer and shareholder value. We also plan to answer questions from investors and analysts. The fact that they individually singled out retail investors and analysts that they're going to invite to this event to ask questions to management, are you kidding me? Companies don't do that, dude. Like, especially not companies with a 75% institutional float, which is what Robinhood has. So a lot of people think, oh, Robinhood is just a retail stock. No, dude, 75% of institutions own this stock. This is not a retail. I mean, there's a big retail following behind it, but the majority of institutions own this company, which is why their upgrades across the street are so significant. $27, $23, $32 over the past couple of weeks, because people are seeing the vision for Robinhood. So at the end of the day, I think this is super exciting. This is super, super cool. And I'm just so proud of them, dude. I'm just so proud of them. Right now, I think the stock's up in the pre-market. I've been buying Robinhood like crazy. I bought 10 shares at the airport before I left. I've just been piling in. Yeah, they're up 2% right now, $23.68. That's $23.76. They are contingent on the market. But if you think the market is going to have a strong run towards the end of the year, then I think Robinhood, will end up doing well. Bitcoin right here at 62,000. Robinhood is also contingent a bit on Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin did hit 64,000 on Sunday in the morning, which was really exciting right before it took off from New Jersey. We saw Bitcoin hitting 64 grand, which was cool. I think Bitcoin came down because there were some more Middle East headlines that came out over the past 24 hours. I do think Bitcoin is bottoming. I think 59,000 was the bottom, and I think we're headed higher, especially as liquidity opens up. Now, China not unleashing more stimulus was not the best thing for Bitcoin. But in the context of Robinhood, I do think investors are seeing the broader term vision for the company outside of just Bitcoin. And Investor Day is just another way for them to live up to that mission, which is really, really cool for Robinhood. Very cool. So that's what we got on Robinhood right now, and we'll see how this plays out over the next coming weeks. No sign of jet lag in a minute, dude. I'm so excited to do this show. I missed it so much yesterday. Like, so many of you guys messaged me that you were like you had withdrawals, you were missing it, like you didn't know what to do in the morning. Dude, think about me. I didn't know what to do. I was tweeting the stock market is open at 9:30. I had no cowbell to ring. Like this is one of those things I can't really live without. So I'm happy to be here and excited to get the show on the road. Okay, so if I have not done the calculations wrong on the math, in 30 seconds the market is going to be open. Let's see what we get. We do have some other headlines to talk about in regards to the broader macro. Oil prices are down 2%. They were at 68 on Monday. They went to 70 or 68 on Thursday. They were into 75 yesterday. Now they're at 73. So we'll see how oil prices play out. That's also having an impact on the economy. China stocks also are something we want to keep an eye on as the market opens in 10 seconds. And then Roblox, we'll see how bad that short report ends up tanking the stock. And we'll see if maybe people come in and end up buying the dip. All right. Here we go. You guys are trolling me right now saying it's another hour before the market opens. So I'm going to trust my intuition here. And I'm going to say the stock market is now open live from the motherland, India. Here we go. Wake your ass up. Stock market is now open. That would be super embarrassing if the market was not opening and I did that whole ring the bell, but I'm going to assume the market is open. 570 on the S&P 500, up about 0.44% of the day. It was down about 1.2% yesterday. So we'll talk about what happened yesterday to get it to go down. Neil Kashkari also said some stuff that made the market upset. I don't think what he said was that relevant, to be honest, for the broader market, but those comments were not the best by him in the eyes of the market. So S&P was down yesterday, 570 right now. JD.com down 8%. Alibaba down 6%. FXI down 9.43% on the day as China stimulus seems to at least be taking a pause. NEO is down 8.4%. Alibaba down 6.45%. Robinhood 2357 opens up 1.05% on the day. Google, some interesting news on Google. We'll talk about them, but they signed some deals this morning. 165 for Google, up 0.5%. Nvidia 129. I was shocked yesterday. I landed in India yesterday, and the first thing I tweeted was, back in the motherland, why is Nvidia up 4%? Maybe because some of that money started to rotate from China. Also, maybe because of the SMCI news. But I think investors are getting really excited about Blackwell, and we'll talk about the upgrades they got this morning from Morgan Stanley. But Nvidia right here, Nvidia has not touched $130 since early August. It has been a long time. Nvidia right now, 3.19 trillion. So Nvidia's up right now. SMCI is up about 0.5% right now. Pepsi did have earnings this morning. Pepsi earnings, I think they missed on revenue. They beat on EPS. They are up 0.25%. Nothing too crazy for Pepsi. Palantir, 39.35. Again, some good volume on Palantir at 1.94 million shares, 1.26% up on the day. Again, fell 3% yesterday. Everyone's been waiting for the Palantir dip. A real dip would be at least 5 to 7%, like get us back to 35, 36. Palantir seems to have other plans. 50 cents away from 40. We'll see if we can get back to $40, but Palantir right here getting a little bit of recovery from yesterday. SoFi, 837. SoFi did lower their APY from 4.5 to 4.3%. I don't think it's that big of a deal that they lowered their APY by 0.2%. I do think, some people are upset about that because why is SoFi doing it and other companies aren't? But SoFi is still better than the majority of banks, right, that are giving you nothing. So that 0.2% is actually going to save them on some of their net interest income by not having to give that to customers, but not fully sure, how much of an impact that's going to have for the broader stock. I think they feel so confident in their guidance and earnings that they don't need to give that high of an APY. So I kind of think that's bullish, even though people might not love it. But I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. That one is now up 1.15% on the day. Rivian up about 1%. MicroStrategy up about 0.5%. Tesla 245. We got that 10/10 event coming up. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. That one is up about 2%. Amazon right here up 0.25%. They did get downgraded yesterday, and I think that's why the stock has been stuck in that 180 level, even though the port strikes have been resolved. CrowdStrike at 287. ARM is down a little bit at 141. AMD at 171. AMD to 170. I felt like AMD was 140 the other day. AMD right back to 170. So AMD showing some momentum. Reddit, $70.92, up about 0.5%. Enphase is down 2%. Intel's down 1.1%. Dell is down a little bit. Enovix is down 2%. S&P 500 now trending down a little bit, but still green on the day, up about 30 bips. Nvidia again up 1.7%. Wow, Robinhood 2407. Nice to see, guys. We have not seen Hood at 24 since early July. Nice to see that, man. Some strong momentum right there. I think that's coming, quite frankly, because they announced they're having an investor day, and we're getting close to some momentum that they're building up to in terms of events that they're unleashing. And I think the market's just realizing that if they are so ready to talk to investors in an investor day, like they obviously feel that they are pretty confident on their vision, because you don't talk to investors unless you think you have a roadmap for the next 5 years that investors are going to really like. So notice this is happening right now. Bitcoin's flat and the S&P is flat, and Robinhood's up 3.6%. That to me is a sign of confidence from investors. We did see those dark pool orders 3 days ago. Someone bought $46 million of Robinhood at $23. They bought 2 million shares, and we've been seeing a decent amount of dark pool activity for Robinhood, meaning people have been accumulating, but they've been trying to accumulate without people noticing. And so probably you've got either some institutions or mega whales saying, hey, we think Robinhood's going to have a good end of the year. And that's why they are loading up. SMCI down 5%. Where did that come from? Why is SMCI down 5%? By the way, if you're wondering why Roblox is down, it's because Hindenburg is shorting them. SMCI was up 15% yesterday. Roblox, by the way, Roblox is now down 7.5%. So some people are buying the dip on Roblox. Where is SMCI? Alibaba down 7%. IWM down about 0.18. That's confusing. Did they fail to file another 10K or something? Like, what's going on? SMCI has launched a new AI server rack system powered by Intel. SMCI has announced that they're launching a new AI server stack system powered by Intel. Is the market actually tanking them because they partner with Intel? That would be insane. Intel's down. Oh, the market does not fuck with Intel, bro. The market does not fuck with Intel. Why are they down because they partner with Intel? That's ridiculous. I mean, I'm assuming that's the reason. That's probably not the reason. That's the only news that I'm getting. Yeah, SMCI launches new edge AI system via Intel support for GPUs. That is so weird. Wait, is Palantir running? Hold on, let's go to Palantir. Palantir. Wow, 39.78. Oh my God, Robinhood 24.27 up 4%. Not too bad on Robinhood. Palantir 39.79. So let me check the order flow resistance on Palantir, and we'll see if we can get some clarity on if we can get back to 40. 40, dude, 40 at 39.82 on Palantir. 40 was so cool to look at. Just Palantir just like being $40. Like it was just like, it was dope to have it at $40. And then they took it away yesterday. You know, I'm not saying we have to get it back, but if we do get it back, I don't think people would mind. $40, there's 10,000 shares waiting to be sold. Volume on Palantir is also not that bad, 3.64 million. It's actually, you know, not horrible. On the really bullish days, it's probably around 7 million right now. So 3.6 is not bad. Basically half the volume on a day that, you know, doesn't have any crazy catalyst. So we'll see what happens with Robinhood. Roblox, wow, Roblox recovering. I guess people are thinking the short float, the short report is nonsense. It was down 10%. Now it's down 5%. Someone's buying the dip on Roblox. DocuSign, that's up 8%. I forgot to text Steve about that. You guys remember Steve told me DocuSign. I don't know if he ended up buying, but DocuSign up 8% right now. They are included in the S&P Small Cap 400. I think not Roblox, HIMS was also included in the 600, S&P 600. Correct me if I'm wrong. They're down 4%, but they were down, I think, like 8% or up 8% yesterday. So they also got some benefits from joining that index. S&P 500 right here at 570. Still on the S&P. Why is Robinhood up? Honestly, I don't think there's any crazy catalyst. Bitcoin and the S&P is not up, so the market's not up. Bitcoin's not up. I really think investors are getting confident about their end of the year. And you know, maybe I'm wrong, but for them to announce that they're doing a full investor day, oh my God, 2440, holy crap. Let me check if there's some news I missed, because I don't think I missed any news. But for them to say, hey, not only are we doing an event in March, an event in October, we're doing an event in December because we're that confident about our vision. Yeah, it seems like that's the investor day. I'm looking at, yeah, it seems like that's the investor. It seems like that's what the market is betting on, because logically, you don't do an investor day if you're not confident about your business. Now, think about this right here. Why was September a good month for Robinhood? There's a couple of reasons. A, the Fed cut by 50 bips. So that means you had a lot of trading activity. B, you had rates come down from 5.5% or 5% to 5.5% to 5%. So APYs came down to 4.5%. So you had people probably take their money and start investing in equities and options. So trading volumes went up. And then C, China stimulated. Think about all the Alibaba stock on Robinhood or JD or FXI that was stagnant for years, that was just chilling out there. In fact, someone tweeted a screenshot today. I think Roy tweeted a screenshot. Overnight, Alibaba traded 800,000 shares on Robinhood when it fell 7% in the past 24 hours. Like, all of that activity happened on one platform, which is the hood. And that's why I think investors are realizing, how can we deny the level of momentum that this company is having? And the fact that they want to have an investor day to talk about the momentum means they're not afraid to show off their future growth plans. So I think that's the reason we're getting momentum on Robinhood, and that's why the market is seeming to like that right now. NVIDIA, okay, NVIDIA is trying to touch 131, up 2.4%. I think NVIDIA is up right now for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is SMCI announced that they were doing 100,000 GPUs yesterday, which is really bullish because they have this new liquid cooling technology, and the fact that they're shipping these many GPUs, that's important. Number two, and here's something some people might have missed. Foxconn is now building out more of NVIDIA's GPU manufacturing center. The chairman of Foxconn yesterday told Bloomberg, NVIDIA's next generation Blackwell chips demand is quote unquote crazy, echoing similar remarks from NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang last week when he went on CNBC with the Accenture interview, and he said, hey, Blackwell is selling out like crazy, and we think there's going to be a ton of demand. So the fact that Foxconn, which is one of their manufacturers for parts of the broader Blackwell GPU system that they're building, says, hey, this is pretty, like, we're seeing a lot of demand. That's very important. Also, another thing about Foxconn, they are building a factory in Mexico. So they're expanding their operations to build out the NVIDIA GB200 super chips, which again are a key component of the next generation Blackwell family computing platform. I think that the market's just screaming, hey, Blackwell is going to sell out like crazy. Morgan Stanley did upgrade their Blackwell projections today. And if they think Blackwell is going to sell out to such an extent, then yeah, you're going to have some obvious momentum on people wanting to, rotate back into NVIDIA if they left NVIDIA, or just have some more money coming into NVIDIA as well. 72% of NVIDIA employees are millionaires. I did see that stat yesterday. It's kind of crazy. There was also a good article in August about this, about the work ethic that was required to get NVIDIA to where it's at right now. And the article was going into how managers are incredibly demanding. Like if you work in NVIDIA and you're a high-level engineer getting paid with a shit ton of stock, Robinhood right here, 24.35, you work 7 days a week. Like you don't, these are not product managers that are taking, a lunch break to go scroll TikTok. These are like high-level engineers working their asses off, and they deserve every cent of equity that they got. But if you are a millionaire in NVIDIA, it's because you have to really work to grind these results. And so they are benefiting from all that momentum. But NVIDIA right here is showing some real strength, up 2.2%. Again, we have not seen NVIDIA above 130 in over 2 months. If we close above 130, I think that's going to be incredibly bullish as well for what we have with NVIDIA. Jensen said this about Blackwell a long time ago. He did, but again, the market's weird, right? Like no one believed him on the earnings call. No one believed him on the Bloomberg interview after the earnings call. And no one believed him. Well, you could say some people believed him at the Goldman conference because NVIDIA had some momentum, but then the stock sold off some stupid China headline like 3 days later. So I think maybe they're finally starting to believe that like Blackwell demand is here. And because that Blackwell demand is real, NVIDIA is getting some momentum. SoFi right here, 834. By the way, what the hell happened to Meta yesterday? I was on the airplane seeing Meta hit $600 a share. I couldn't believe it, but Meta, a lot of people thought 600 was possible by the end of this year. I thought it was possible. I was a bit skeptical. I know we're right below 600 at 589, but the fact that we got there seems that the market is continuously bullish on Meta's prospects. Is Palantir back to 40? Are we back to 40, baby? Wow. $40 back in action, dude. The bears must be so freaking mad. Like, they must be so upset about this. They cannot believe this bad boy is not going to do the amount of bears I saw on Twitter on Sunday when I said, hey, what do we think happens to Palantir? The amount of people saying, are you kidding? It's definitely getting a pull. I mean, like, here's one thing I wrote on Twitter on Sunday night. I said, the amount of people willing to call a top on Palantir makes me feel like it's not a top. Because you've got just way too much, way too much bearish sentiment around a company that has way too many bullish pieces of momentum happening right now. And either I'm sipping the Kool-Aid and I'm way too euphoric and I'm going to be humbled in Q3, which I'm fully acknowledging that is possible, or there's way too many people that think this thing has to come back and that stocks can't be expensive for a long time. And we know time and time again, that's just not the case. Stocks can be very expensive for a long time if they are premier companies. By the way, Forbes did a piece on Alex Karp. I didn't read the article, but I watched the video they made on him. And it was some good coverage. I mean, you got the mainstream finance media starting to lighten up to Palantir and not cover them in a negative way. And because of that, I think that's also leading to their outsized momentum. Robinhood right here, 24.45 as well. 24.50 would be incredibly bullish above Robinhood. I think that was the 52-week high. The 52-week, no, 24.88. 24.88 was the 52-week high on Robinhood. You got Palantir right here just hovering below that $40 level. And again, I'm not saying Palantir is cheap here. I'm not saying it's cheap. I went to India. I came to India. It's still expensive in India. It's not like it got cheaper just because I went to India. But the momentum is there, dude. And you kind of don't fight the trend when the momentum is there. I don't think selling some calls is bad. I don't think selling some shares is bad, but I do think the momentum is there. By the way, I spoke to a decent number of retail investors over the weekend. Some people that just reached out to me to talk about their Palantir position. And a lot of them said they sold 30 to 40% of their stake. Why am I bringing this up? The reason I'm bringing this up is a lot of those people deserve to. They were holding on since $10, right? They wanted to take some profits. One of the guys I talked to, he was addicted to drugs for the first part of his life, and the stock market got him out of drugs. And the first stock that he got into was Palantir. Shout out to Jeremy. I think Jeremy might be even in the chat. Shout out to Jeremy. And the reason he got out of that vicious cycle with drugs is because he wanted a better life for himself. And Palantir was one of the companies that he thought at $10 would help him achieve financial freedom. And he deserves to bask in the glory of being up 300% and secure some profits for his future. Why do I bring this up? Because I think retail's selling. I don't think retail's really buying this stock. I really think it's institutions. And if that's the case, then this is going to be a fun ride. Because if the institutions are buying $40.15, they're not selling. Why do they want? I mean, unless we just take a shit in Q3, which I don't think is going to happen. they would buy the dip if that happens, if they really have this much momentum to buy it at $40. Dude, I don't think retail is moving the stock above 40. I could be wrong. I'm sure there's some retail, but I do think it's more institutional investors coming in. And just from an anecdotal, piece of analysis, I've seen a lot of retail say they're selling. And if that's the case, I think we have some toots coming in. Robin at 24.60. If we can hit 25 today, if we can actually hit 25, I know it might be a little tough because they have no catalyst outside of the fact that they announced an investor day. But if we can hit 25, that would be really exciting for Robin. Shout out to Arnie in the chat. I have a podcast coming out with Arnie. It's been a long time since me and Arnie did a podcast by ourselves together. So that podcast is coming out at 6 p.m. Eastern. So in 7-8 hours, whatever that time is from now. And Arnie will be talking more about how he went all in on Palantir when it was $7 and Wall Street was telling him that he was stupid. He was buying it. He says, "Thank you, smart money, to making me F you money." I love that. Thank you, smart money, for making me F you money. It's incredible. Incredible. Super, super cool, dude. So, and yeah, that's, and look, again, we don't have to stay above 40, but even oscillating between 38 and 40 to me is a win against a lot of the bears that are thinking this thing deserves to go back to 25. Remember, the people saying this is Tesla in 2024, or Tesla in October 2021, that means Palantir will be $22 by May of 2025 if they are correct. If they're wrong about this, and this is not Tesla in 2024 when interest rates were low and Tesla went to $1 trillion, pretty much off just like stimulus checks. Yes, there was actual growth in Tesla, but obviously that valuation was not sustainable. Then if that's not the case, then I don't think Palantir is going to $22 in March of 2025. And if it is, I think there's going to be a lot of people ready to buy that dip. So as long as they execute, I think we'll continue to see momentum. But the question is just going to be what those Q3 earnings look like. NVIDIA right here at 129, up about 1.82%. Energy's down 2.8% on the day. Why is that happening? Probably because oil is down. Oil, yes, is down 3%. There we go. We need to get oil back under 70 because it was really nice having oil prices go low. There's no reason it should be up outside of the Middle Eastern tensions. As long as those don't get that dramatic, I do think oil should make its way back below 70. That's also going to be great for CPI. Most estimates from the banks I'm looking at right now, they are saying CPI will be 2.3. That's the median forecast. All right, put it in the chat. What do you think? 2.3, 2.2, 2.4, 2.1, or 2.0? What do you think? Or unchanged at 2.5? I definitely think it'll be down. I'll say 2.2. I'm going to go against Wall Street. I'm going to say 2.2. I was right last time when I went down 0.1. Let's see if I can go 2 for 2. I think we're going to come in at 2.2 versus 2.3. Honestly, we might come in at 2.3 because we did tick up a little bit at the end of September. So I think Wall Street might have this one right. But I'll say 2.2. Either way, if we get 2.2 or 2.3 on headline CPI, dude, the Fed's target is 2%. I mean, we are pretty damn close to that target, which is not bad at all for the narrative that we should get rate cuts soon. Rocket Lab is where's Rocket Lab? Rocket Lab got a contract to go to Mars, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Rocket Lab up about 1% right now. They got a contract yesterday to go to Mars. I didn't get a chance to read it. Put it in the chat if I'm wrong. But if that's the case, dude, if that headline, and again, I didn't read the press release, if the headline is Rocket Lab is selected to be a partner to go to Mars, this is turning into a very legit company. At a $5 billion market cap, this is turning into a very, very legit company. It's a study, not a mission. Okay, so what is it? NASA selected them to study how to get to Mars. Is that the argument? NASA contract for Mars. So they're not going to Mars, but they're participating in helping NASA figure out how to get to Mars. Even that, dude, that's insane. NASA contract to bring back Mars samples. Again, I didn't read the press release, but on that headline alone, dude, space stock getting picked to help the process of bringing back data from Mars to me is incredible. I mean, that shows they have a lot of faith in the company right there. So Rocket Lab, maybe it doesn't need to be up 10% on the news because it's up 50% in the past month, but that's helping sustain Rocket Lab's multiple right now at trading at 14 times price to sales. And, continuously proving to people that it's a legitimate company. Alibaba still down 7%, JD down 8%, NEO down 10%, FXI down about 8.72%, SoFi right here about to go red on the day, 827, Rivian up 1%, MicroStrategy, wow, 190 on MicroStrategy is basically at its March levels. I think it hit 199 in March, so it's almost back to those levels. Bitcoin right now is at 62.7, okay, so that's helping. Bitcoin up about 0.19% on the day, and that's helping MicroStrategy as well. It's a study to analyze rocks from Mars. All right, that's bullish, dude. I don't know how you can say that's bearish. The fact that they're willing to to work with them on projects like that, that is a massive, massive deal. I forget how much Rocket Lab gets paid off that, dude. Like that to me, just like as an anecdotal piece of evidence for someone who's thinking of initiating a larger stake in the company, it makes me feel a bit more confident that NASA's not just throwing around those contracts to any space company. What else? Okay, most of you guys think it'll come in around 2.2 to 2.3. All right, so most of you guys kind of agree with me. 2.2 to 2.3. That's what we should probably see. Where's Palantir? Are we still at 40? We are still at $40. Robinhood still at $24.50, and Palantir still holding above $40 right now. Not too bad, dude. Not too bad. Now, a couple of I don't know if you want to say bearish pieces of analysis, but we do have to talk about the fact that people are selling, dude. Warren Buffett sold another 7 million shares yesterday of Bank of America. Like, the guy is raising cash like there's no tomorrow. We've gone through ad nauseum the reasons why he's selling. One of the reasons could be that he thinks Democrats are going to get elected and he wants to save on taxes. Another reason could be that he bailed Bank of America out in 2008 and therefore he needs to take some profits. But look at this. He sold 300,000 shares October 3rd, sold 5 million shares October 4th, sold 4 million shares yesterday, October 7th. So that's 10 million shares, all at about $40 in the past couple of weeks. By the way, why is Bank of America not going down on this? Well, I think Bank of America is buying back their stock. Bank of America initiated a $25 billion buyback. Warren Buffett so far has offloaded $10 billion of Bank of America stock. I believe he owns a $42 billion stake, so it's about 20% of the position, but still, he is selling a significant amount, and Bank of America might just be buying it up, which is why Bank of America is not going red. But he is selling also. I saw another chart. I'll see if I can pull it up right now. But insider selling has reached one of the highest levels we've seen. And this is not really that new information. We've talked about this. Wow, Palantir, $40.22. Robinhood, $24.63. Both of those bad boys are running. Insider selling is going up. Oh, the chart I was going to reference is one of the key NVIDIA directors, Mark something. His name is, I think, Mark Simon or something. He sold a shit ton of NVIDIA yesterday. Now, does that really matter to the underlying business? Not really, but still, it is one thing to look at that people are cashing out. And so earnings are really going to have to justify the deep liquidity of the public markets continuing to maintain the momentum around these stocks that have gone up so much, because insider buying is definitely not going to do it. Insiders are not buying their stock. And it's just going to have to be able to offset a lot of the insider selling based on companies still believing that earnings growth is going to continue for a lot of these companies. Wow, Palantir 40.34. So this is a new 52-week high for Palantir. 45 is the all-time high for Palantir. This is why I didn't want to sell covered calls 2 weeks ago when Palantir was 37.50, and I was so ready to do it. Dude, when I tell you I was so ready to do it, I was ready to do it. I didn't trust it, dude. And look, maybe this doesn't last. Maybe we come right back to 37. But if I wanted to sell covered calls today, I would get a way better premium. You know, it's just one of those things where the momentum is there and it's up there. Let me see the resistance from 41, because you know what? In the words of Gordon Gekko, greed is good. Okay. And so if greed is good, how much do we have till 41? 6,000 shares at 41. 6,000 shares till 41, or at 41. There's really no big walls or resistance. Nothing that I'm seeing. Volume right now is 9 million shares, which is not horrible. There's no catalyst today. So honestly, there's no catalyst for the market or Palantir or Robinhood. Robinhood is the investor day catalyst, which is a big catalyst, but like, there's nothing, no crazy new deals or anything. Palantir, there's nothing that I've seen that was like a catalyst today. So both of the, I don't know why they both just decided to run, but they're both running. And the broader market is flat. I mean, it's up 0.5%. That's not flat, but like, it's not like, nothing crazy. So I don't know. These two, I guess, are deciding to just have some fun today and get some momentum. Can you look to the resistance at NVIDIA? Yeah, let's look at NVIDIA. So NVIDIA, where's NVIDIA trading right now? NVIDIA, in about 10 minutes, guys, I will have my uncle come on stream. This is the uncle that always watches me in the chat every day, who cares a lot about markets. I talk about him all the time. And so he'll be on, and we're going to talk about investing in India and kind of the bull case for India, because he has a decent amount of money in India, and he's pretty bullish on the overall country, the TAM, and the broader growth prospects for the youth of India. At 131, NVIDIA has 261,000 shares. What was funny yesterday is at 130, NVIDIA had 1.5 million shares. 1.5 million shares ready to be sold. So NVIDIA obviously today jumped over those 1.5 million, which is not bad. And today it has 261,000. So basically $200 million were stuck at 130, and someone bought up $200 million of NVIDIA stock. And that's why we're above 130 right now, up 2.2% on the day. Amit went to India and his camera quality dropped by 240p at least. Okay, so we didn't have time to set up my good camera. I do have my good camera. We'll probably set that up tomorrow. That's why I'm using my webcam camera. But we will get the full setup going pretty soon. At least tomorrow, and then hopefully into the next market close as well. If we're going to be at some different hotels in the next week, then probably not going to have the camera set up. But at least tomorrow, I think we'll have the good camera ready to go. Square is up a little bit. Where's Roblox? Roblox got hit from the Hindenburg report. They are down 6%, so not down as much as they were before. Bitcoin 62,000. Wow, Palantir $40.40. It is just breaking through these walls. I mean, really, there's not that many walls, but it's just breaking through new increments of 10 cents and maintaining momentum, up 1% on the day. Put in the chat why you guys think Palantir is running. Does anyone have a theory on why you guys think it's running? Let me know. Where's Hood? Wow, 2481. Dude, let's go for 25, dude. Let's get a little greedy on Hood as well. Let's go for 25. Is this what I had to do to get to 52-week highs? I had to fly 15 hours across the world to see my two babies get to 52-week highs? Is that what we had to do? Because if that's what we had to do, then maybe we'll have to do that again, dude. $40.45 on Palantir, 24.83 on Robinhood. Again, both stocks gaining momentum with pretty much no catalyst today outside of Robinhood announcing an investor day. Let me look on Palantir if I missed anything on their news, but I don't think there's any crazy news. Someone might be front running a piece of news that they think is going to come out, but I don't see any. Asham Sankar will be on CNBC later today. Okay, so that's news, but that's not like crazy market. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the market's buying it up before Sham's. Dude, but we're up 4%. 4% is not a joke, dude. Hitting new 52-week highs up 4% on Sham Sankar's probably not going to announce some crazy. Maybe he's announcing something new that I don't know about, but I'm not sure. Maybe that's the catalyst. Maybe that's why it's getting some momentum. John said I just bought $40 million worth of Palantir shares. Okay, so maybe John is the reason why we're getting some momentum. But there has to be something going on with Palantir. Eric says S&P inclusion buying by the institutions will continue for months. When regular market does okay, Palantir will outperform. You know, I would have to agree with Eric, dude. I know this narrative is being repeated over and over, but I really do think the institutions are buying here. If Robinhood moves up 1 cent, we will officially be at new 52-week highs for Robinhood. 24.80. Oh, there we go. 24.89. Let me check resistance for 25 on Robinhood. But yeah, I agree. I think it's the institutions. I really do. I think it's the same thing for Robinhood. I think the institutions are getting Robinhood as well. Oh, there's 40.50. There's 40.50. There is 40.50. Now we got to get through 40.60, and then after 40.60, 40.70. After that, 40.80. After that, 40.90, and then maybe we have a chance to see 41. Maybe. I did see that headline that Vanguard is bought up like $9 billion worth of Robinhood at 37. I do believe that's accurate. So that could be a tailwind. Again, Vanguard, BlackRock, it's not really bullish when they buy this stuff. They have to buy it to meet their fund requirements. They can sell it as easily, but the way they're going to sell it is if they think, the fund requirements deserve for the company to be less of a weighting. And that depends on Q3 earnings. So if Palantir crushes Q3 earnings, I think Vanguard's going to say, hey, we got to get more exposure. Right. And so that level of momentum, so many people are ready to say it's overvalued by conventional metrics, which I'm not going to deny. But I think you don't fight momentum, and that momentum is strong right now. And I think that's why we're getting some price action here, up about 5%. Palo Alto Networks got upgraded. Okay, so we're seeing some cybersecurity love. They're up 5% right now. Let's check CrowdStrike. Where's CrowdStrike? CrowdStrike is up 1.3. CrowdStrike 290 as well. Wow, Robinhood 2 cents away from 25. Let's see that 25. Let's see it on Hood. Let's see it. 24.97. It's going to be a bit psychological for the market to give us 25. Oh my goodness, it's up 7%. It's going to be a little psychological for the market to give us that. So it might not easily give it to us yet. But I think we have a chance to get it. Resistance at 25 is 73,000 shares. Yeah, that's gonna be a little tough. There's gonna need to be someone to buy 73,000 shares of Hood at 25, And if that happens, then we will break down that wall and we're going to get there. Amit, are you going to sell your calls? No. So I already de-risked my hood position by taking out my initial. The 2026 ones, those are the $20 strikes. I'm not going to sell them until end of 2025. And the 2025, the strike on them on the short side is 25. So if we need to get above 25 for those spreads to materially result in the levels of profits I would love to see on those. And I do think, given the catalyst over the next month, we can get above 25. And the goal is to sell those in January. So that's been my game plan all year. That's been the big bet I've made this whole year. You guys know I consolidated my portfolio to two things, Palantir and then Robinhood options. And if that pays off, then I will be able to use a lot of the liquidity from the Robinhood options to A, buy more Robinhood stock, and B, buy a lot more Palantir stock, because I will just sell puts on Palantir all of next year. And when I get assigned on those puts, I will be able to accumulate more Palantir. So that is kind of my game plan right now. Also then to build out the Tesla position. That is also the goal next year. But we got to see kind of how the rest of this year plays out. Palantir now above 40.60. So we got through the 40.60s on Palantir. We got through the 40.60s on Palantir. As much as I love this, unfortunately, my uncle's going to have to sit in the back because we have too much momentum here. And we're seeing, we have time. We have a lot of time, so we can just talk and see. Palantir 25, we got 1 cent away. We got 1 cent away from Palantir at 25. Again, we got those 70,000 shares we got to get through. But if we get through it, we can see that momentum. Adam just texted me. He says, not sure why my super chat didn't go through. I paid, I got the receipt. However, Adam said, if you see the, okay, Adam, I got your, oh, did we hit 25? Oh, we hit 25 for a second. Okay, let me read Adam's super chat that didn't go through on YouTube. He says, so this is to his boy. Shout out to Adam's boy, Z. Z has hit all-time highs in his portfolio. He's up 4x on Palantir and 10x, I think, on Robinhood options. He's the one I tell you that watches you every day. So Z, if you're watching, you are seeing your Robinhood options with a stock right here at $25, ladies and gentlemen. We got Robinhood at $25, and we got Palantir at $40.70. Shout out to you, Z. Thank you for watching. Shout out to you, Adam, for recommending my stream to someone who is new to the stock market and new to investing. It's been a hell of a year for them, and thank you for following along the show. And thank you for enjoying the content. And thank your big bro Adam for getting you into investing, because I know this is your kind of your first year really getting into it. And I know it's been a bullish year. Not every year is like this, but it is wonders what can happen when your capital compounds if you put it into meaningful assets. So shout out to Z. Bitcoin above 63,000 as well. There you go. Wow. The entire market is seeing some momentum. Bitcoin, 63,000. Palantir, $40.78. We are 2 cents away from hitting 40.80 on Palantir. Robinhood oscillating between 24.98 and 25. I think we will get back to 25. This is basically what happened with Palantir on Friday when we touched 40, then we came back down, then we touched 40. The demand is there to get through 25. The 70,000 shares were bought up at 25. So, now there's no wall or resistance at 25. Now it's just a question of volume and momentum. And if we have some more volume, we should see that continue to get there at $25. Palantir right here, $40.64. Robinhood at 25 right now. Amit, will you switch from Webull to Hood on the 16th? Maybe. Honestly, it depends on how good the product is. I will be brutally honest, dude. If that product that they're coming out, that advanced trader desktop product, is not that good, I will say it. I'm not going to say it's amazing just because I have a lot of Robinhood. Like, if I can't use it on a daily basis, I'm going to say, guys, I just don't like using this thing, right? And it is what it is. But if I like using it, then I'll switch from Webull. And maybe I don't switch from Webull, but I still use it on my own day-to-day trading. We'll see. But I'm curious to see, what they roll out and how they're going to roll it out. They are getting really excited about this. Robinhood's Twitter social account did two things. A, they got rid of all of their Instagram pictures. I don't know why, but I guess they're prepping their Instagram to have just one thing posted on their Instagram, which is probably going to be some announcements. So they nuked their Instagram. And then B, they said, hey, if you guys are excited for the Hood event on October 16th, you'll be really excited for #Hood Week. I don't know what #Hood Week means, but it seems like on Friday, they're going to be announcing Hood Week is starting. And I don't know if that's a string of announcements. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but they are getting ready to take over for Q4. And it's just amazing to see them execute and amazing to see their momentum. Palantir right here at 40.63. Let me check the resistance to 41 again and see if we have any walls at $40.80. Robinhood right there at 24.96 as well. At 40.80, there are 1,000 shares At 40.90, there are 1,000 shares, and at 41, there's 8,000 shares. So not any major resistance if we get the volume for Palantir. Cool, not bad. All right, so we'll get back to Robinhood and Palantir in a second. Let's see what else we got going on. SMCI now down 5%. I still have no clue why SMCI, like partnering with Intel should not be a reason you go down 5.6%, but that's happening right now. Bitcoin just below 63,000, Rocket Lab right below $10, Nvidia at 131, Bank of America at $40, CrowdStrike at 290, Palo Alto 353, Roblox recovering a little bit from being down 10%. Now they are down 5.4%. MicroStrategy at 194. Incredible. PayPal at $80, Tesla at 243. That 10/10 event, I think I'll be able to stream it. I'm really excited for it. I am dead scared that this is going to be a sell the news event. I hope to God it's not. I really hope they announce something with some timetables that gets the market excited. But I don't know, dude. It's Tesla. So something tells me it's going to be more sell the news if we don't have any details. But if we do have details, then I think it'll be awesome. And that's it. I think we just need details. That's it. I think we get some real details. The market starts to like it. I will tell you, in India, there are no Teslas. And I've got some videos I got to show you guys of driving on the street. I was in the front row of a rickshaw today, and it was a fun experience. I'll just say, like, you talk about a roller coaster. That was a roller coaster. There were literal cows and dogs and everything. But I don't know if FSD is going to work in this. I will be willing to say FSD is not going to work for a while. I don't think the neural nets are going to be trained for a while with what we've got going on in India. But in the rest of the world, it can work. And Tesla just needs to show that they're ready to launch. And if they are, we're going to probably see some momentum. Robinhood back above $25. We did hit $24 or $25.04. Palantir hit $40.79. Now right back below 40.70 at 40.65 right now. Arnie says Tesla should actually train FSD in India. If it works there, it can work everywhere. 100,000%, dude. If Tesla FSD can work in India, it can absolutely work anywhere. Okay. All right. So, do we want to bring my uncle on? Do we want to talk about India? I do think that Hood and Palantir are going to keep having momentum. While he's talking, we can just keep the chart up and we can look at if we get to 41 or 26 on Hood. But I mean, like, the big momentum of the day has indeed happened. Up 5% on Palantir, up 7% on Hood. Holding above 25 will be really bullish on Robinhood, so it'll be nice to see. I think the barrier today was getting above 25. I did not wake up this morning and think we would get above 25, although I did buy a couple shares this morning at 23.30 because I was like, screw it. We're going to buy some more shares. After I saw that investor day thing, I was like, oh, these guys don't give, like, they're really serious. So, let's see if we can maintain that later throughout the day, but I think the market is getting pretty bullish on them. And then Palantir, it's going to be a little bit of a fight to 41, but if we get there, then we'll acknowledge it and we'll see if we can get to that $41 level. All right, you guys are saying yes. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to plug in a new mic because this mic that I'm wearing is attached to my headset. So let me get a new mic and let me let this mic be something we both can use to talk. And then we are going to get some experience from the person who actually, ironically, we were talking about it today with my sister. I downloaded Robinhood because of him, dude. Like in 2019, I think he recommended Robinhood as one of the brokerage platforms, and I looked it up, and like there it was, and I just downloaded it. Like literally in 2019, he was the reason I got into investing, and so it's really cool to see this come full circle. Robinhood now holding a decent amount above 25 at $25.07. Palantir right here at $40.63 right now. All right, interesting man who got me into investing in the first place, Mr. Munish Munjal, also known to me as Manu Mama.
Hey, hello guys.
You're on the show.
Yeah.
There's 2,000 people.
Hope you are doing well.
Are you nervous?
No, it's okay.
All right. So let us know if the audio is good. It should be okay. The mic should be hitting both angles. Let me do that right there. All right. There we go. We're good to go. So, Manu Mama, you've been investing for a pretty long time. What is it, 20 years now?
No, it's not 20 years. I think it's largely been focusing on 5 to 6 years, but I have been studying the market. But last 5-6 years, I've been very glued to the market across the world.
Okay, I love it. So can you give people a little background around who you are, where did you come from, the humble beginnings you had to get to this stage of life, and why you started to invest in the stock market?
So, first of all, I want to say I'm very proud of what Amit has built over last 2-3 years or 4 years or so. I'm just happy to be part of this platform and sharing some some information or what I have learned, but I'm just personally very proud of what he has built. In terms of, so I'm a banker by profession. I've been 18 years only worked in banking between the second largest bank in India, and also I work in a Citibank, which is I mean everybody knows is a US-based bank, and I've been in Citi for about 14 years now. I mean I take care of the control function of the wealth management products.
Like
So-
you're like finance, like
yeah.
fixed income, like corporate debt. Like you're in that world.
Correct. So somewhere what I do in the work life actually inspires me and gives me a lot of information with regard to what I want to do in my personal life with regard to stock investing. It's no more a piece of earning money. It's a passion. It's about planting the tree. It's about putting the waters every day, looking at the company on a day in day basis, look how company is progressing, and then take the call whether to scale up or to scale down. And it requires hell of a reading, which we need to do as an individual.
Like
Yeah.
you're really passionate about investing.
Yeah.
Like all day you have 9 different screens and you're just studying the markets as much as you can to give yourself a competitive edge. So for you, it's like a hobby at this point.
Correct. So from my family to my boss to the team, everybody knows that I'm a very pro equity stock market guy who wants to talk about equity. I'm a risk guy, but I do talk about equity and the growth and the economy and what's happening around. It also helps me to understand how each sector plays, be it production of ethanol, be it production of any in the industry, how the steel makes it from iron ore to how actually steel comes out and gets exported or gets distributed within the country. So it helps me understand the various industry types as part of my personal interest area.
Okay, so India. Let's talk about India. So a lot of people here that join the channel every day. Thank you, 1,900 people for being here. Really means the world. You guys a lot of times come for new ideas as well, right? Not just talking about market events, but different ideas, different topics, different concepts around investing. India is a place that I've always wanted to invest in. And we've heard the headlines like India's growing population, GDP, all that stuff. But there's a lot of minutia around India that you are heavily concentrated in because you believe it is the greatest opportunity, at least over the next decade. What is your high level thesis? And then what are some data points you're looking at that are deep?
Sure. So I believe India is going through a transformational journey. It has already been going on, and there we have a huge runway ahead. It's one of its kind, which I believe a lot of things are coming together in terms of what's going to work for India. And some of you who are on this YouTube live, maybe from India, and may be able to relate to. So do type in your comments if you agree with me. So few facts. I mean, India has the largest digital transactions across the world. I don't know whether any one of you know, India has 47% of digital transaction of the world.
I didn't know that today. I thought it was
So,
China.
It is crazy. From paying a beggar in the street to actually doing a $5,000 shopping, you can actually do everything digital, cardless. You do not have to carry your wallet. India, 10 years back, was a cash country. You have to carry lots of cash in your wallet. Now you just need a phone. Now you will say, look, it has been happening in US for long. I want you to evaluate what I make all my comments from the fact that it's a country which is moving from developing to developed. And when the country moves from developing to developed, there's a huge potential to make money in that market. Because what you see in US as common and if it's happening in another country, the growth or the GDP growth of that market will be much higher, and therefore there's a huge growth. India has created a manufacturing hub by promoting various production-linked schemes, inviting various multinational companies to come and set up factories, making it easy for business to flourish. The government has created one single window. It's a Hindi name, but I will try to pronounce it for everyone. It's called Paresh Portal, which means all green clearance would be given for any company who wants to set up a manufacturing hub in the country. Then there is huge defense Make in India push. After the Russia-Ukraine war happened, India has been spending lot of focus on how we can have domestic manufacturers produce those defense equipments rather than relying on Russia or other countries as in Make in India plan.
And they've been getting a lot of oil from Putin, and the
Yeah.
West sees that as bad. But to your argument, you're like, there is so many people. If we don't get the oil from somewhere, like the people just can't live.
I want all of you to look at it. Jay Shankar videos. He's a external foreign minister. He has been asked this question 10 times, and I'm going to give the same answer what he has given. His answer is, we will do what we think is best for the country. If getting an oil from Russia is best for us, we will do it, because that saves a lot of foreign reserve for the country. We are able to, and India is it is largest import oil, and therefore there is no way, if we keep on buying at an elevated level, we will be able to grow at a scale that we want to grow. So India will do what it needs to buy whatever there's at a cheap price.
And by the way, from a philosophical perspective, that's what developed countries do. They do whatever the fuck they want. America does whatever we want, and no one blames us for that because we're a big daddy America. So it's one of those things where if you're a developing country and your GDP is going up and you need to make some deals with Putin, even if he's not the most ethical guy, that's where a cost-benefit analysis from a utilitarian perspective comes in. And if you value growth per capita versus ethics, sometimes that's the trade-offs you have to make in a country with 1 billion people.
Yeah. So I think one important stats I want to share. In 2020, India's GDP was $2.7 trillion and a manufacturing GDP was $0.35 trillion. Now the projections are that by 2030, India will be a 5 trillion economy, will be much before that, but that's an outer limit. But the manufacturing GDP will be $1 trillion. So while GDP doubles, manufacturing will triple. Why it is happening? Because the production links came, the defense push, huge. Manufacturing is not enough. You need to have logistics to move that goods from one part of the country to another part of the country. So huge amount of spending which is happening on the road, railways, and the entire infrastructure to move the goods, which doesn't even mean only for road and railways. The ancillary company that provides a lot of materials, which gets a push because they have to have a large setup to produce that. So the entire eco chain come together with regard to the manufacturing push. You have seen our Prime Minister Modi going at every places and asking for Make in India and come to India. So we will give you everything that you need. I don't know whether you know there's a city called Gujarat, a state called Gujarat, where we have set up a big hub only for the companies who want to set up from outside. So it's a most fanciest of place in India that you will see, and you should do that.
So one thing here as well, the average wage in China is $3.92 for like the really like not low skilled work, but like cheap manufacturing labor. In India, it's 92 cents. So you're talking about that wise Apple thinking of going to India because they can get better margins on their phones potentially, right? And so it seems like a lot of people need work and these companies need labor, and that's why India is attractive as well.
Yeah. So a few facts. Do you know that India is going to be third largest in terms of percentage and highest in absolute terms in the working population by 2030, which means the people who are ready to go out in skilled and unskilled man labor, India will rank up there. There are 110 unicorns in India. I'm not sure if any of you know that this kind of unicorn infrastructure or the kind of unicorns that we have.
Unicorn is a $1 billion startup.
Yeah. So India is the largest exporter of IT service. Do you know in last year, we end up exporting higher than what we imported as oil in terms of the export services on IT.
Which is crazy. I mean, like, that's absolutely insane.
India has reached record future and options turnover. Hold your breath. $1.1 trillion on a monthly basis.
So I didn't believe that today. I did not believe that. I was like, I'll believe this IT bull. I'll believe that we export a ton of IT. I do not believe that $1 trillion per month of Indians are gambling in options. It's true. They are.
So that is also marking, I want to go to the point where what is being a transitional shift in India. Financial institutions have been selling India on the pretext that the algos tell them that India is expensive. And if India is expensive, they'll move the money out and they will move to other markets, which is cheap. So what is happening? The retail frenzy is happening. I want to quote a number. Okay. Every month, retail is pumping $1,700 million as systematic investment plan to mutual fund houses, which is a domestic institutional investors, saying, let the FIs take the money out. You keep on investing in India because there is a huge dearth of opportunities which is there. Let me tell you one important fact. Even today, only 8% of the household income is in the equity. Rest is in the real estate, the gold, and on the banks, the saving and the fixed deposit. So next 10 years gives you huge potential. I know US is about 60% or 55%. Think of it, 8 to 15. What will it do to the stock market? Now you will say, look, it's expensive. I will relate to the fact that, look, there have been 250 initial public offering in the current year, which means new companies are coming into the market, which is not making market expensive, but giving the opportunity of the retail money to move into the newest of the ideas. And these are not small business. Hyundai is launching an IPO in India. Hyundai believes India is the market that they should launch it. Foreign companies are trying to cash out the India retail boom. So therefore, there is a huge opportunities from an IPO perspective in a sense.
Dude, when I found out today, $1 trillion is gambling on. These are like millennials that just like are playing in the options market because they have a bit more money because they have more disposable income. I mean, first of all, I think Robinhood needs to come to India. Forget Canada, dude. The gamblers, the degens are in India. And second of all, it just means more liquidity is opening up in India. We'll talk about some specific stocks or ETFs for American investors to get into, but it does seem like there's more growth in the broader equity markets for India.
Yeah. Two more points, then I will hand over to Amit on where he wants to steer the talk. India corporate balance sheet today is very healthy, and debt levels are very lowest in last 10 years. This coupled with the fact that Indian banking system is actually well capitalized. What is this gearing up? This is gearing up for a capex cycle. This means that companies are ready to do greenfield and brownfield expansions, which means they are ready to do private capex because they have the money, cash surplus, and the banks are ready to lend. What will happen is this is tying up with the Make in India manufacturing push, which means you are giving push to the manufacturing, leading to a GDP growth, thereby making the market cap at a country level still not getting expensive from a GDP to market cap ratio, which is the Warren Buffett's famous benchmarks to see whether the market is expensive or no.
Right.
The last point which I want to talk about is we talk about manufacturing a lot, right? But I will say you also look at India as a consumption story. Everything that you produce or provide a service, you don't have to worry about the export, because we export because we want the forex reserve. There are enough taker for any product that you produce because we are 1.3 billion people.
Before you continue, this was the biggest point to me. Because I said today, hey, do people still watch TV in India? Because we have the cable TV. And he looked at me like, what are you talking about? Like, there's 1 billion people. They need more content, more YouTube. Like the Indian YouTubers, on average, they're getting 10 million views a day. Look at some of the biggest vloggers. I think Sohal Joshi is one of the vloggers that I follow. 10 million views a day. Why? Because there's 1 billion people willing to consume content. There's, I think, 300 million people that are going to get on the internet over the next 5 years. Where are they going to go? YouTube. Why? The average phone is Android. YouTube's the default app on Android. And then when it comes to food, restaurants, nightlife, if there's that many people, that just means that the companies can internally market their products. They don't need to go to China or America to sell their stuff.
Correct. So on the consumption theme, the last bit of it, I think one very important part is that as I said, when we are moving from developing to developed, there is an upscale happening from a lower middle class to a upper middle class to actually the rich and the affluent, which means there's a premiumization happening, which means you want to buy a car, you want to buy expensive cars. You want to go holidays, you want to go expensive holidays. You want to buy something as a product, you'll go for the branded stuff. What is happening? Which means that there is a consumption of every category of brands in terms of the pricing structure, because the people are moving from the lower middle class to upper middle class, and therefore the spending, the money to spend is increasing as we are going through this urbanization phase. So therefore a manufacturing, a consumption, and the fact that we have a very small percentage into equity market as household savings, I believe that India has a 10 years run rate. Mind you, India is expensive.
Okay, so I have a lot of questions. What's the bear case there? We gave a lot of bull case. What's like 2 or 3 bear cases besides expensive? Like, could there be a revolution internally in politics? Like, what is the issue?
So on the politics side, it's been very stable. We have a BJP government for last three elections. It's been 15 years of stability. They have done a lot from that perspective. I think the only issue I was worried last week was China. I mean, I'm being here selfish because China is inexpensive, India is expensive, and if China needs to find opportunities, there is only freaking one market that you can take the money out, which is India, and which has been happening. The India market went down 6 to 7% in last 1 week or so.
Dude, that's bad. That's like the S&P falling 7% in a week. Like, that's not good. So
Yeah, because they want to move to China. But today, as we said, China went down, India came roaring today, saying that this is a short-lived story. I believe, and I'm being biased, there's nothing that can stop India right now from a 10 years, 15 years growth story. You have to pick up right stocks, right bottom stock investing. If you cannot pick up because you are based out and you cannot buy, I mean, ETFs are the best way to do the passive kind of investing and stay in the growth story.
And then the main ETF, guys, is the INDA stock. It's the MSI ETF.
Yeah. This is the main. This covers top 50 India companies which are growing. I mean, whoever in this group are non-resident Indian or PIO card holders, they can obviously invest directly. But if you are not, then you can buy through the ETFs which are there. You can also buy a mutual fund, which is India-based mutual fund, which is available through any of the fund houses, which is in US, which is focuses on India. And I'm sure you can have a peaceful 10 years of investing without doing anything.
So let me ask this question. So someone says, what are the holdings? We looked at the holdings this morning, and the first thing I said to my uncle is there are no tech companies. There's like one tech company, and that's like IT services. There's no innovative GPU software. So here's another question. Why would I invest in India if technology is the fastest growing sector and no tech companies make up the top 10 of the index?
As I said in my initial conversation, India is not an AI hub. Let's put it that way. India is right now a manufacturing hub, which will be consumer of AI. They will consume AI in every step to make manufacturing to a next level. They will use it. India is a large producer of a IT service from an export hub perspective. India will, I don't know whether you know, India produced the vaccine when the COVID happened and distributed across the world. India is the third largest pharma industry in terms of the volume. And that is the huge, I don't know whether people know about it, that India is the largest manufacturer of pharmacy in terms of volume, not in terms of value. India is poised to become the third largest automobile industry. So they are using AI in the manufacturing of the automobile by 2016. But yes, there are no AI companies which are at the level or the magnitude and scale as we have it in the US.
For those asking for his Twitter, I put it right here in the chat. He doesn't really tweet that much, but maybe you guys will motivate him to tweet if you follow him. So if you're curious about his thoughts, you can follow him there, and he might start tweeting more. So here's my question. The US is 35 trillion in debt. What is India's debt situation like?
Yeah. So that's a very important fact. I have a chart. I'll pull out somewhere. I'll share with Amit, and Amit can share it in tomorrow or so. So India has really maintained the gross debt position very well. They have, in fact, been last 2-3 years have been able to reduce it. And why? It's very important. There are a lot of companies in India which are listed and are government-owned companies. last 1.5 years, the government, which is the PSU, which is the public sector undertaking, their market cap have doubled and tripled because they were undervalued and because of the entire government stability and government telling that they will run them as entrepreneurs. What has happened? Every time they do OFS of 5%, 3%, they chunk out a huge amount of cash because the company which was at, let's suppose, a $1 million suddenly has become $3 million, and they sell 5%. There's a huge enough cash to divert to the rural economy for the upliftment, because the entire economy and the market cap of the companies have grown so much because those companies were undervalued. Any selling is giving them so much of cash, so they have been able to maintain their debt position, their direct tax collection, and their indirect tax collection. I will give a chart to Amit somewhere. I'll pull it out. You see a trajectory for 1 year. It's a straight line. It has not dipped even in a single month in last 2 years in terms of the tax collection. Tax collection is always an indicator of the fact that how businesses and individuals are performing, because the income levels are rising, and that gives an opportunity for the government to accumulate an additional amount of cash to repurpose it to the various schemes.
So someone said, what about silver? If I ask him that question, he might go for an hour. So I'm not going to ask him that question yet. But why aren't, if everything you're saying is so true, why aren't people investing in India? Or are you saying they are investing, therefore it's expensive?
No. So we were 3 years back or 4 years back, 4% of our household money was in equity. Now we are 8%.
No. Why aren't foreign investors putting in money? Like why isn't JP Morgan, Citadel, why aren't they putting money in?
So if you see all the brokerage houses, they say India is the place to be, but they are saying it's freaking expensive. The algos don't allow. It is expensive. It is 23 forward earning FY 26, 23, 24, and the mid cap. I mean, you should put a small cap ETF chart, a small cap chart. Just put Nifty small cap and show them how much money that people would have earned in. So now put it for
let's do 5 years.
5 years.
So this is the HDFC. Holy shit! Wow.
So it's a 20. It's at an index level. It's a 20% compounding.
Yeah, that's not easy.
Which means at an individual stock, if you're a good stock picker, you would really be making 40 to 50% or 30 to 40% in a year, which is pretty good in a small cap. And you look at it, there are no dips. There are dips which are so small in an overall chart that they are all buying opportunities. So every time when I say there is a red on the screen, I get excited because that's where I can buy. Whenever there's a green, I say, okay, let my cash stay idle. That's how it is. And I don't live in India. Okay, I live in Singapore, but my 80% of my wealth is invested in India. That speaks a lot about what confidence I have, and it doesn't come easy. I read, I listen to con calls, I read the results, I listen to brokerage reports, I have my thesis, I connect with a lot of people, and I do a quarterly result evaluation at my own level to see whether I want to stay with the company, or I want to move out. It's a pretty much hard work with the taxing job, but something that I love doing and I'll do.
Yeah, it is really exciting. Again, look, for the past 24 hours, we've basically just been talking about investing because you guys know the reason you guys come to this community is because we're all like-minded people. We all listen to conference calls. We all actually care about this stuff. It's hard to find those people. But when you find them, it gets exciting. So let's ask, if you guys have any questions, we'll put in the chat. We'll go for like another 25 minutes and then we'll wrap it up. But Singapore, what is investing like in Singapore? And is that a good place to live ultimately at the end of the day?
So Singapore, the good part about it is that it is tax-free from an investing perspective. Anything income that you earn on stocks, dividends that you get, anything that you sell is tax-free. I mean, I will say if you don't have a job, you can't survive there. It is a freaking expensive country. It's I believe the most expensive country in the world. But I will say that it's not a retirement place for sure, but it's a financial hub. And if you have to make money, you have to come to Singapore. I will say the next destination is US in terms of the opportunity to make money if you're in the financial sector. But Singapore will be there, right up there, along with US. Singapore local market. I mean, it's not that as vibrant in terms of either China or India.
Like you wouldn't invest in Singapore.
I won't invest in Singapore stocks, but it's a financial hub. So huge amount of money from China moves to Singapore to either invest in India or US or Europe or even South Korea to an extent, but not much in Singapore.
Okay. Is Mahindra Cars and Tractors public? Do you know that?
Yes,
They are.
Mahindra is the listed company. They manufacture SUV. It's a large cap. It's a mega large cap. They have done. If you see the stock chart of Mahindra, you'll go crazy. It has just one-way rally in last 3 years. Also, let me tell you, I don't know when Tesla will come, because Elon Musk was supposed to come. He cancelled 3 times. What politics? I don't know. But if you book a car today, you have to wait for 3 to 4 months or 6 months sometimes.
In Singapore.
In India.
Oh,
What
in
I'm saying
India.
about.
Oh, in India.
6 months to get delivered. There is so much of demand of a consumption side. Singapore, you can't buy a car. At least I can't buy a car. So that's how it is.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your personal investing philosophy. When you pick a stock, what are you looking for in that stock to try to come to a conclusion for 3 levels? A, you're going to hold it. B, you're going to trade it. C, you're going to maybe short it. I mean, like, how do you look at picking stocks at the end of the day?
So I don't short. I don't know how to do it.
Why do all the best investors say they don't short? Like, most of the best investors do not short companies.
There's one thing that I believe that everybody should do it. Everybody should make their own investing process and stick to it. Sometimes they can align, there's no problem, but they should stick to it. Why it's important? If I believe I am investing in the company because I want to be in the growth of the company, and I believe that the company will be 10 years, 15 years down the line will be much bigger, or 5 years down the line will be much bigger, I don't want to waste my time in shorting. Nothing to say that shorting is bad. I am not saying at all. I am saying it may not be aligned with my investment philosophy. It can happen 2 years down the line. I may start doing it. At this point of time, I believe in finding an small cap or a mid cap, which I believe either in the sunrise sector or which I believe is in the industry where the government is trying to push that sector.
Well, what is sunrise sector?
Sunrise sector like solar, EV, where India has a huge growth rate. Because, for example, if it's an EV and India is not there on EV, and we have to scale up the EV manufacturing, so we are in the right stages or the early stages of the EV manufacturing in India, right? So if you be part of that EV, you pick up those right horses, who's going to become very big. For example, Tata Motors, who is the biggest EV manufacturer of the four-wheeler vehicle in the country, has actually become 3 times in last 3 years. And it's not a small cap. It's a mega large cap.
Yeah.
So you pick up the stock in the right sector, be with them. Or pick up in the sector where we believe from the manufacturing perspective, government is doing a PLI. PLI is production link incentive. Entire electronic manufacturing. Oh my God. I mean, Apple, look at Apple. They're pushing everything to India in terms of from a manufacturing
perspective.
setup.
So you say small caps and mid caps is the first part of your philosophy. Do you touch Apple, Amazon, Nvidia at all, or you just don't think it's the risk reward is?
So let me just complete that part, that why small and mid caps are there. Even in India, I do large caps. It's not that I don't do, but I believe that if you have to make that insane amount of money, you have to do with the company which is not been identified by the market as who will become a large cap. There's a lot of risk involved, and hence it has to be constant review. But I do large cap to give a cushion to the portfolio.
Right.
I have started doing US individual stock picking, which is very nascent stage. Let me tell you, I don't even know 100th of what you individually know on the US market. I only do ETFs. Why? Because being part of the bank and being part of the investment world, I get a lot of my understanding of my thesis. For example, thesis says that the 20 years history time, whenever the interest rate goes down, small cap and mid cap perform. So I have been collecting Russell 2000 for like 1.5 years. It is up.
Before Tom Lee kept screaming about.
I have been doing. For example, he said, I'm a big silver bull. I believe silver gonna rock next 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years. I'm reading a book right now. I'll send a picture to Amit and he'll put it on the screen. I'm reading a book on the silver bull. I believe silver gonna rock. So I buy those ETFs in the US where I believe that there is potential at the ETF level. But I started doing a small bit in terms of US based investing, but it's hardly my 5% of my portfolio.
More silver over gold.
More silver over gold. Any day I have gold. It's not that it's not there because of the cushioning of the portfolio, because we believe that US might hit with some soft landing, etc., etc. So gold will help. But I have bought silver and gold, and I bought silver miners and gold miners because I believe. I read the history. Okay, history may not repeat, but it rhymes. And every time when there is a recession closer or there is a soft landing situation, silver miners and the gold miners have made tons of money.
Okay, I love it. Your son, my cousin, tells you to buy Bitcoin. Why have you not bought Bitcoin?
I'm an orthodox investor. I don't buy something that I don't understand. I'm not saying it's wrong.
He's being very politically correct. He's hedging his bets against the crypto bulls right here.
I'm not saying it's wrong.
No, okay, what do you personally feel about Bitcoin? Do you think there's a thesis to the asset class at all? No. That's fair. Would you want to speculate on it? Would you rather speculate on a small cap company?
I will better speculate on Nvidia. I better buy puts at 127, 123 rather than do Bitcoin. At least I will understand. Look, Nvidia is expensive. Look, Nvidia is already priced in next 4 years of earning. For example, I'm not saying it is. I'm just giving an example. I would better do that, which I understand, rather than do Bitcoin, which I have freaking no clue.
Yeah, you want to see a cash flow statement. You want to find stuff that you can actually put together.
Underlying. Yeah. It cannot be something that I cannot understand what is the underlying business. Yeah. Silver. People are asking why it's different to silver.
Why? Yeah.
I can tell you.
Yeah. Well, give us a good 2-minute bull case on silver.
So silver. If you go through the story, there are very less silver mining on its own. Silver comes as a byproduct for a lot of copper or aluminum kind of mining. And gold has a more ornamental value and more from a hedging perspective. Silver has a use case in terms of electronic vehicles, in terms of the entire manufacturing of, in terms of the silver is used in actual producing a car and everything. So if we believe that there is a case where demand will outstrip supply and there are very less silver mining places and you will have to come as a byproduct, there is a huge likelihood that besides being hedging to safety, it is also a case of demand and supply mismatch, and silver will rocket more than gold.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thesis as well, and I'm learning more about it. But for you, the actual use of it, it's not like gold is like to protect yourself against geopolitics. This is more about the use cases of some stuff. That is fair. That is very fair. A quick look at the markets, and then we'll keep talking. We got Robinhood at $25.16, Palantir at $40.62. So Palantir still trying to get to 41. Maybe it can happen. Robinhood $25.20 now, just having an incredible day. Again, guys, for those that are wondering why it's up, I think the announcement of the investor day is why the market feels bullish on Robinhood's prospects and ultimately what they're going to be able to achieve. Got Palantir here at $40.60. Where's TQQQ? Let's see that. QQQ currently today. Wow, Q's up 1.1%. And then the S&P, Rocket Lab at 999. SMCI slowed down 5%. S&P at 571. Okay, give me some picks that are contrarian. You named one yesterday that started with an I. Why are you loading up on that company? Semiconductor name. Intel. Why Intel?
It's value. I believe that it has really gone down, and I believe that US cannot survive without Intel flourishing. They have to get the support from wherever they have to, but I believe it's enough.
Okay, I'm going to do some rapid fire stocks. Give me your 30-second thoughts on them. Palantir.
Conviction in my nephew.
Robinhood.
I love it. It's going to go.
Is your thesis, because you're talking about Indians investing, are you kind of seeing the similarities with, because Vlad, his thesis is 85 trillion is going to come to millennials from their baby boomers. That money's not going to go into Schwab and Fidelity, Interactive Brokers. It comes into Robinhood. Does that thesis make sense to you?
Thesis, and I believe that ability to innovate products at Robinhood will be a key differentiating factor, and they have to move outside of US.
Okay. NVIDIA.
Too hyped right now. Let us settle down. It's a great story, but the price is something which bothers me.
Okay. Tesla.
Elections can make or break for Tesla.
And Elon, by the way, did an interview yesterday. He quite literally said if Donald Trump doesn't win, he's screwed. So
It's very simple.
Yeah.
So your hedge is you're not betting on Tesla. You are betting on elections. So you need to see. I mean, you have to see on your own. Is EV manufacturing or the people are buying EV from a percentage as compared to ICE? You see the trend. Is that happening?
Cybersecurity, not CrowdStrike particularly, but that sector, is that interesting to you?
No idea.
No idea about it. Okay.
Banks, you can ask me banks. That's
yeah.
my core area.
Why is Warren Buffett selling so much Bank of America? And then your thoughts on Bank of America.
I mean, I have Bank of America to disclose. I mean, I believe that he is taking the cash out. He believes recession is around the corner. He's 9 out of 10 times also right. But market is one important thing. For every seller, there's a buyer. So we don't have to worry about, as long as the Bank of America believes they have value in the stock and they're doing buyback. And I think till the time the tug of war between Warren Buffett and the Bank of America is going on, it will survive.
Infosys.
It's a beautiful company. Beautiful. It's at 1850 now. And the beauty about Infosys is every 3 years, it gives you a dip because something happens, either in terms of insider training, either in terms of information, and it gives you a tip. It gives you a dip, then you need that fucking heart to buy it.
You need the heart. You know what's funny today? I know everyone in the chat right now, when your portfolio's up, you just feel a little better throughout the day, right? You go, maybe you get a little something extra for lunch. Like you just feel better. This morning, the market opened. You watched the Indian market open. It was down, what, $10,000? And I could tell he just felt a little like sadder. And then within 5 minutes, his mood went to, like, look, I'm up 10,000. Like, can you speak to that? Like, as an investor, is your psychology and mental health, even though you have a secure life, secure income, good family, is that affected by the day-to-day moves of your portfolio?
Because we're so passionate about what we're seeing on the screen, our emotions are definitely driven by what you see in the color, in terms of red and green. And it's not about the red and green, it's about your thesis going correct or incorrect. It's all about that. It's an emotion. You will end up spending more outside after the market close, even if you're not selling, because today is a green. You might end up not spending something which is when the market is red. But let me tell you, I always look for opportunities for red, because while emotions are down, I am releasing my wallet.
Yeah,
because that's where you have to go ahead and conquer your fear.
So on a red. So what happened during COVID? How did you approach that situation?
So COVID was very bad. I mean, at that point of time, when 23rd of March, everybody announced lockdowns, it came down like a pack of cards. I still remember whatever cash I had, I pumped it on that day. I had nothing other than the salary of the month and that day. And since 2020, because COVID also gave us a lot of time to study and research, the thesis, the investment philosophy changed, and this is where we are now. I mean, I will give credit to COVID. If COVID was not there, we would not have spent that much of time, and we would not be here.
Rocket Lab, space companies.
No idea.
No idea on that one.
I can answer more on India. If any chat group has any question on Indian stock, I can tell my views. US I'm still learning. I
So,
understand.
given the amount of people that use WhatsApp, I was asking you this today. I know Meta is a little expensive, but WhatsApp is going to keep growing. They're barely monetizing it. Do you like what Meta from that perspective?
I mean, I like Meta when it fell down like a like a pack of cards about 2 years back. It's not only Meta. It's only not only WhatsApp. I think Instagram is also very huge
Yeah.
in India. I believe it's going to keep on going up. They're going to keep on monetizing. They're going to keep on doing AI. I would just prefer to buy it 10% lower. I just want whichever president come. I don't care. Just give me 10% down. I'll buy it.
Google.
I have it in my portfolio.
You like Google?
I believe
You
it's
think it's undervalued right now?
it's undervalued.
SoFi.
I bought it.
You bought SoFi. All right, we got
That's
some
a
SoFi.
buy.
What is your thesis there on SoFi? I don't.
I mean, anything which is a digital lending, all that. I mean, you just buy it and
But
see.
hold
what's
on.
happening.
You work at a big bank. SoFi wants to beat the big banks. How do you just think that they're going to grow with millennials and that'll help them compete against the banks?
So I'll just compare with the India example because I can more relate to it. So India, in terms of the financial industry, you have big banks, you have NBFC, which is your non-banking finance companies, you have brokers, you have insurance companies. I believe that every institution cannot capture every part of the market. You need every player to reach out to the last point of the mile in terms of capturing the audience. We all can survive. It is not a duopoly. It's not a monopoly.
I agree.
People can survive together. Businesses can survive together.
I agree. I don't think it has to be SoFi versus the banks. It has to be SoFi just gaining market share, but they don't have to beat JP Morgan to still have a really good business with a ton of people that use that bank. Will India's economy ever catch up and or overtake China in the near future?
So the projection says that we're gonna overtake China we're gonna overtake Japan very soon, and then China. If you look at the growth story, the issue with China is China controls the production, China controls the supply, China controls the consumption, right? I believe it's gonna be very hard. I'm not gonna be just be India bull and say India will be overtake China. India has already overtaken China in terms of the population. But you have to understand that because of China policy of the one kid and etc., they are lacking the working population in 5 years' time, and that's when India will scale up because India has tons and tons of working population. Now China has changed the policy, so it'll come back again. But I believe there will be a gap of 4 to 5 years or 7 years when you will see a slump in China, India going up, and then China going up again.
I agree. I 100% agree with that. And I think that's where China gets less attractive right here, even though India is a bit more expensive. Anne-Marie says, Amit, why aren't you doing a huge due diligence and sharing some good India stocks with us? Honestly, the first 2 days of being in India has inspired me to do more due diligence on India because I've always liked it, but I've never done the due diligence. And so you guys will see a lot more stuff from me over the next few years about Indian equities, a lot more. Scott says, why aren't you my uncle? Thoughts on Reliance?
I have it in my portfolio. It's a big conglomerate. It does everything. And if you have to grow, and if you are saying that we are from $3 trillion will become $5 trillion, we have to have the largest company in the country. But it has been underperformed 1 year. Here it is important. In investing, you do not make money every day, every month. Sometimes you have to sit over it, and returns come in 1 week for the entire year. We have seen China.
Yeah.
What has happened? So you have to sometimes sit on it if you believe in the story.
Are you enjoying your trip, or do all you do is talk about stocks?
I mean, it's been 1.5 days, so we have talked all about stocks.
I think you're gonna have to come on the show through Zoom more. I mean, people want you every month, at least a monthly update with you. And people love you.
I mean, I listen to Amit's YouTube live every day for last few months. I believe that what he does, and he's able to give me ideas in terms of the YouTube live. I don't ask him what is his view on any stock. I make my own assumptions basis the content that he shares, and I believe that I'm going to continue to join his YouTube live for sure. Whether I join on Zoom or no, but I'm going to be there as a audience.
I love it. This has been super fun. This has been awesome. He was a little nervous before he came on, but once you started talking, you just like, he's like me, dude. Like once you start, we're a family of yappers, we just like talk and like, we just can't stop talking. So this is super exciting. This question I got to ask you because everyone's asking, are you introducing me to a girl for an arranged marriage or is that not happening?
Your mom is calling. What should I say to her?
No. We got a show. We got 1,400 people. We're live.
Uncle, I'm introducing Amit to some local girls. He's looking for a wife. He's not looking for wife. Let me make it clear. He is not looking for wife. But I can still introduce him to local girls.
I love it. All right, guys, we got to get out of here. We got some family waiting on us back home. Thank you all for joining today. I will be back tomorrow, same time. Might be in this hotel, might not be. Might be at my grandparents' house. So we will see you guys then. This was super fun. It's exciting. Did you have fun?
Yep. Had a lot of fun. It's my first YouTube live.
It's your first YouTube live. All right, great, awesome. I'll just say bye to them. You can you can go outside if you want to. Okay, cool. So super fun. Let's I hope you guys enjoyed that segment. We'll get my uncle on more often, even if it's just through Zoom. But we were excited today. Even this morning, I was like, you should hop on the live. You should just say something. And again, he knows how to talk, so he started like preparing these talking points and stuff, and then he got excited. Then we talked about India. I was like, why don't we do a segment on India? And then it was like, we just ended up doing it. So super, super fun, exciting. I didn't know at least the two biggest stocks in my portfolio would be having a day like this. Palantir at $40.70, Robinhood at $25.24. But very, very cool to see these two equities continue to get some momentum. NVIDIA having a great day at $132. Rocket Lab passing over $10. QQQ at $47. Bank of America at $40. CrowdStrike at $288. Palo Alto Networks at $354. You got HIMS down a little bit on the day. SMCI, I still have no idea why they're down outside of the partnership they announced, but I feel like there's more to it. Alibaba, China, FXI, not really recovering. It was down 9%. Now it's down 8.5%. Still down on the day. Google is up a little bit. IWM up a little bit. And then you've got S&P at 571.7. So the S&P having some momentum as well. Cool. There we go. Barry says biggest two stocks. They're your only two stocks. Dude, again, this year was a year of consolidation. I've been saying it over and over. This was a year of consolidation for me. We still have to finish out the year. But this has been the portfolio this year. And so next year, hopefully we get to diversify more. But I do think both companies have a ton of catalysts. Palantir's probably run a lot more ahead of its catalyst. Robinhood, I still think, has the catalyst left. But one big final catalyst for Palantir outside of institutional ownership is earnings. And if they can reaccelerate growth, I think we're going to see some more momentum on it. And so both these companies doing really well. And we will see where their execution leads them to over the next few months. Okay, cool. I think that's pretty much it. We got Robinhood right here, 25.23, Palantir at 40.68, and then the S&P 500 closing out at, or at least right now, 571.73, up about 0.69% on the day. Go to sleep, Amit. I probably should go to sleep. I probably should indeed go to sleep. What is your uncle's YouTube channel? So he doesn't have a YouTube channel. I'll put his Twitter again in the chat if you guys want to check him out. I see that I think 20 or 30 of you already followed him. Again, he doesn't tweet, so you might inspire him to tweet more, but he actually has like a job and he's really busy investing and doing research. So he's not really a content creator, but he loves creating content internally around his own due diligence for stocks. So if you guys want to check him out, you can check him out there. All right, word of the day. Manu Mama, can you give me an Indian word of the day? A word in Hindi that I can say? That's a good. We do word of the day on my channel, right?
Yeah. No,
okay, so give me one that I can use, that people can use, that's easy to say, and that's like fun.
That's what. So it's literally investing or anything.
Anything. Wait, you want to do the phrase? Desh mere, the dirt of my home.
Yeah.
Desh meri dharti.
Yeah. So there's a saying that Desh meri dharti meri mitti, which means when I land in India, I feel that the mud and everything takes me believe that I've come to the motherland. So it's mera desh meri mitti.
Mera desh mera mitti. So I touched down in India and we got to the airport and I said that. And I butchered it so, like, you think I say words wrong, that like I butchered it so bad. And my sister was like, what did you just say? And I was like, no, it's from this movie. I heard it. And she was like, what are you talking about? And then I met him when he picked us up, and I was like, Meri, blah, blah, blah. And it was just like, what are you saying? He's like, are you trying to say Meri Desh, Meri Mitti? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So basically, I'm trying to say back in the motherland, really excited to be here. It's been 5 years and happy to touch down and feel the actual land that not that I was born in, but that everyone who's responsible for me being alive was born in. So very happy to be here. Tell us how to say the F word. We shouldn't do that. So
somebody has already said that.
Somebody has already said that. Yeah.
Stick with.
There you go.
That's the F word.
That's someone who already got it. All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. I'll be live for the market open tomorrow. And for the next couple of days after the market open, if we can't do the open, we'll do the close. I'll keep you guys updated and we'll go from there. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for being here. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the market open from India. Bye, everyone. Have a good one.